We're here. So are you taking over the articles? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's why I couldn't do
That's
it.
right. We're going to give YouTube a minute here. I will say the problem me this week. Last week, what's my up?
Wow.
Let's kill Twitch. And let's tell YouTube. All right, let's try again. Hey, we might be live. That looks a little better.
No.
Then tell it from. Oh, wait. We might be live. Hold on.
I'm just going to stand still so we don't.
I think we're okay. Okay. All right. A little bit of a false start there. That's perfect. So last week we had an issue where I was streaming through my VPN by mistake. I had forgot to turn off my VPN on my streaming PC. So I had a max upload through my VPN of about 9 megabit, and it was causing Twitch to die. This week, my internet service provider is up to its old tricks. I have a 3 megabit upload when I'm paying for 30.
Yep.
And I'm only getting 280 down of my 1 gig. So something's going on with my home line. It kind of started yesterday. I alluded to that on Discord. I thought it was better earlier today. Apparently it's not. So if you were looking to follow me on Twitch tonight, I've killed Twitch entirely. I've learned to work around these issues. So we are coming to you at a blistering 720, 30 FPS at 1.3 meg.
I know all you 4K people out there are totally disappointed that you can't watch it.
So it's what we get for my, I say rural country internet. I get gig speeds here, but we're like the last leg in the hop.
Yeah.
So deal with what we have.
It's so we didn't have to wear makeup.
That's right. That's right. I should probably put my checkbook somewhere
I was about to say, like, Jeff.
Oops.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 57 of Talking Heads. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
We might just make it through this drinking tonight. That's what I want to know. And
we got a couple already. We
Yeah.
got Skull. He's drinking a rye barrel-aged stout.
ooh,
So that'll be complimentary to what we're gonna have today.
that
earlier.
totally is. 2 of our 3 are going to be a little bit of whiskey based.
Yeah.
Well, one of it is pretty much all whiskey. So we did this with, I actually looked up the episode. Back in episode 36, Steve and I tried what was the brewer? There was an old-fashioned inspired brewer. It was called The Gentleman or something like that.
Oh, yes.
And it was an old-fashioned inspired ale.
Oh, yeah.
And this is very similar tonight to what we're drinking, but this is Anderson's Valley Old Fashioned. It's an old fashioned strong ale, but it's actually in a
good.
We're offline. Oh God, I hate this right now. All right, let's try 1 meg. Let's lower it down a little bit. Okay. Anyway, so Wild Turkey 101 bourbon is not typically what you'd make an old fashioned with, although I've made old fashions with bourbons before.
Well, yeah, if that's all I got, that's all I got.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Throw a simple syrup in there, it'll be fine.
Right, and in fact, my house old fashioned I actually make with Seagram 7. I want a cheap old fashioned tonight. Seagram 7. It's an American blended whiskey.
That's all I do.
So-
Yeah, I got 2 bottles underneath in my kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's basically my go-to whiskey.
I bought a new handle of it tonight.
Oh, yeah. So, that is my go-to whiskey of just, all right, look, I don't have the extensive liquor you do. So it's Secret 7. I'm just like, I want something whiskey or, based. Right. And that's what I usually use.
Yep. It says we're dropping again.
What?
Yep. What the crap? I'm going to just ignore XSplit. If it works, it works. In fact, I'm going to try to record... I'm going to record a higher stream, so maybe we can re-upload later. Since I'm not streaming to Twitch, I can record locally, and hopefully we'll be just fine.
Well, a lot of your views are usually the next day, too.
Yeah. Yeah, usually about 70% of my views happen in the week after the stream.
Yeah.
So,
but it's always fun to watch, talk to people live.
Right. There we go. All right, so we are recording. We will upload this later on. Anyway, if you're watching the recorded version, welcome to Talking Heads, episode 57. Anyway, so Anderson Valley, Wild Turkey, Old-Fashioned Strong Ale. It's an 8.7%, but we're not going to start with that. We're going to do the same thing that Steve and I did back in episode 36, and we're going to start with a true old-fashioned.
Yeah, right?
And this is Craft Computing's interpretation of an old-fashioned. I've been pretty vocal about how much I hate ordering old-fashions at most bars because they grab your glass, they drop some rocks in it.
A lot. They don't just drop
Yeah,
some.
it's like crushed ice, and it's up to here. They pour in 1.5 ounces of whatever their house whiskey is, typically very, very inexpensive, which, again, you can make an inexpensive old-fashioned. They start with muddling like an orange wedge and 2 maraschino cherries.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then they fill it with ice. And then they toss in some like 1.5 ounces, maybe 2 ounces if you're really lucky, of an inexpensive whiskey. And then they pour seltzer or Sprite over the top.
Yeah. Sometimes I've even seen a Coke, which is really weird.
Yeah. I'd prefer Coke to seltzer, though. Now, you can do an old-fashioned with seltzer, and maybe that's something I'll explore later on. I'll show you guys how to do that properly. But this is how you make an old-fashioned. So, I don't have my proper ice. I realized I forgot to freeze some of my large blocks. Yeah. So, we're just going to do just a little bit of ice. And that's all you need. And notice we didn't start with muddling. You don't muddle anything in an old-fashioned.
No. Most of the fruit is there for aromatic purposes.
Exactly. And that's what the oranges are there for, too.
Yes.
So, we're going to start with 2 ounces of a rye whiskey. I'm using a Bulleit Rye 95. And I'm making a double batch, so we're doing 4 ounces here. Typically, I will go 3 if I'm making one for myself, but for the sake of the show, I'm going just a little light tonight.
Well, your standard drink is only supposed to be 2.5.
It's supposed to be 2 to 2.5 ounces, right? Like I said, at home, I'll make it a little heavy.
You want to have that, you want to have that one drink. I want to feel this one drink.
Right. So you're going to do 3/4 ounce of simple. So I'm adding 1.5 ounces of simple here, and this is a heavy simple. So there's actually less water in that than you might think. And then I'm using, most people use Angostura bitters, and there's nothing wrong with Angostura bitters. These are old-fashioned aromatic bitters from the bitter Housewife, and I much prefer these in an old-fashioned.
Really? Are you doing 3 dashes, 4 dashes?
3 dashes typically. It's a brand new bottle, so it's a little harder to dash, but smell those. Those are much different than your...
That is. It's got... It's real earthy tone, like a root almost.
Yeah, it's almost like a sarsaparilla smell
to
it.
It really does have
but it's got a lot of cinnamon in it.
Yeah.
It's just a good bitter. So, anyway, that's the Bitter Housewife old-fashioned aromatic bitters.
It smells like an organic bitter versus like an artificial bitter. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Right, exactly. And as far as your base drink goes, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
It's whiskey, bitters, and a little bit of sugar.
Don't shake it.
Don't shake it. Stir it. And don't stir the ever-loving heck out of it. Just mix your ingredients properly.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do.
This is a whiskey-based drink. You want to taste that whiskey.
Right. Short pour.
Short pour. That's fine.
I'll give you just a little bit back. There we go. Close enough. All right. Next, we get to our garnishes. So I like to garnish with a Bordeaux cherry. There we go. Set that off to the side. And again, we were talking about
muddling oranges.
Muddling oranges. You do want some orange in there, but you want a zest of orange. So what I do is get a nice orange swath, and that is about perfect.
That is really good.
That was with a pocket knife. All right, and John, they're not going to be able to see this on camera, but watch the glass. See the spritz?
Oh yeah, very nice.
So take that, you rub the edge of that, drop it right in.
Now you just want the oils of the rind, essentially, which gives it that oil zest.
Right. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting into the meat of the orange there, And so you want a lot of those oils. You want a lot of that zest. When you squeeze this, you can actually see it spritz your entire glass with it.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do for extra measure is I'll run it around the rim. And you get a lot of those aromatics coming out of the orange that way.
And really, the rubbing it around the rim is so when you pick it up, it's going to hit your nose at any angle.
Right, and the oils stay on the glass.
Yeah, it'll last you most of the drink.
And that is an old-fashioned.
Yeah. I think one of the more manliest cocktails there are out there.
That orange is right up front.
That makes it nice.
That was a good orange. That was a really good orange.
I love old fashions.
Those bitters are quite a bit different than the Angostura bitters.
Ew.
It's a much meatier drink with that. But solid drink.
It's a solid drink.
Yep. All right, yeah, good old Bulleit 95. One of my favorite ryes. It's if I've got a rye in the house, it's typically Bulleit. All right, let's get to some beer news.
Let's get to some beer news. Now, I like theme parks. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people like theme parks.
I like theme parks.
Although it has been, I think theme parks have been dying down in popularity a lot of times just because, it's very hard to keep them fresh and new.
Right.
And as you get older, you're like, okay, I've been to that ride 30 times because they haven't changed it in 30 years.
Now, when I was a kid, I really liked going to theme parks. I liked traveling with my parents. Anymore when I travel, there's one thing that I like to do no matter where I'm at, and that is find the local craft beer places. That is what I enjoy doing now. And I know you're much the same way.
Oh, very much the same way. Yeah. No, when we go on vacation, I look up like, okay, we're gonna be at what hotel? I need a 15-mile radius. What craft brewery is
what can
around?
I get there that I can't get anywhere else?
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're going to go on a vacation and you're thinking about going on a vacation and you do also like beer, you might want to start thinking, go to Seaworld. And you know why? Because Seaworld is offering you something no other park will. Free beer. For the next year, if you visit any Seaworld location, they will give you free beer.
Free beer. Free beer through the door. And not cheap beer. This isn't like, here's a Coors Light.
Yeah, here's a Coors.
They're actually giving away local craft beer.
Yes. They are giving away... I mean, it's probably just going to be an ale,
right.
the standard stuff.
It's a standard, maybe a 6% IPA or whatever the standards are for there. But San Diego has a lot of good breweries.
Oh, yeah. So you can go to a Busch Gardens or Seaworld, and what it is, it's for their 60th anniversary celebration. So for the whole year, I didn't see an article stating how much beer they're giving away. But they are saying that this is actually increased popularity.
Yes, and we actually talked about this way early on in Talking Heads, where SeaWorld was experimenting with doing craft beer days.
Yes.
And so what they were doing is they were setting up craft beer tents and small tap houses around the park, just little gazebo, basically beer fest kind of style things, where you'd get some tasting tokens and you can go around and you can try 6 or 7 or 8 different craft beers. Well, they saw enough success with that model that they're expanding that to a regular attraction of the park.
So I might want to go to SeaWorld.
It's actually sounding pretty good to me right now.
I know. I was at there, we're like, have a beer, we're like, jump, go, yeah.
Yep.
You don't get to see Free Willy though, but still, you get to see some giant fish jump or dolphins and have a beer with a dolphin.
Interesting tangent. I actually did see Free Willy because he was at the Oregon Coast Aquarium.
Oh, yes.
The Newport Aquarium. Keiko lived at the Oregon Coast Aquarium for a long time. When Keiko left, when they released him back into the wild, they converted that whole giant tank into 3 different exhibits at the Newport Aquarium that they called Passages of the Deep. I was one of the first volunteer crews that came in and helped maintain that exhibit.
Oh, really?
So I went in and maintained that exhibit for a year.
Wow.
So that was early on. Yeah, I volunteered about once every 3 weeks for a weekend there. And so me and my dad would drive over. We'd get breakfast in the morning. He was a volunteer diver there. I went through the dive training class, but then they changed the rules midway through the class because it was brand new. And they said, well, we don't want anyone under 18 diving in there for liability reasons. And so they yanked my certification from me. But I still went through the class. And so I was the dive tender. So I would get the divers in and out of the water while they're cleaning the tanks. I would start up the vacuums for them. I would be a spotter down below. But one of the coolest things that I got to do there was actually sitting in a lawn chair petting a seal while my dad's diving in the seal exhibit.
That's awesome.
And they're giant puppy dogs.
Oh, really?
And so they jump out of the water, and I'm just sitting there in a lawn chair doing this with the seal. And then he'd jump in the pool, and he'd want to play with my dad. And so he's chasing him around through there and like grabbing onto his tank and riding on the back of him. And then he'd jump back up, and he'd have me give him a treat and then sit back down again. And I'd sit there petting him.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so cool.
Now, if only you had a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
If only you had a beer.
Yeah, well, I think I was 16 at the time.
Now, see, that would be an exhibit. I would go be like, oh, go pet the seals.
Oh, totally.
And just be like, go relax and lounge around with some seals. Mm-hmm. Like they have puppy cafes and cat cafes. I want a seal cafe.
Yeah. So, I know that was a tangent, but you mentioned Free Willy, and it's like, I have a little bit of history with that whale.
I got a little snippet
I got a little history with that whale. So. Anyway, what else we got?
We actually, so last week we talked about how the American NATO forces basically, no, not basically, they did drink a whole town dry. The Iceland capital, in fact.
Yes.
They drank it dry of all beer. Now, we did say it wasn't that big of a town. They're not, we did have a couple of people in chat say, you know, they're don't really have that much beer in the town, but still, it was.
But it's a city of 125,000 people. It's not like they went to a town of 5,000 and drank them dry. Yeah, this was the capital of Iceland.
Yeah, so it was still an impressive feat. 7,000 troops drank a whole capital city dry of beer. So, as to kind of help with the NATO theme, a Finnish, Finnish, is that pronounced correctly?
Yes, Finnish.
Yeah. A Finnish brewery decided to brew a batch of beer specially designed in case this happens again while the exercises are still going on, and said they will donate this beer to that to the troops essentially.
Nice.
It is 7,000, or it was basically essentially 1,000 bottles, or no, 33,000 bottles, 1,200 liters of beer that they said a specific Peaceful Pilsner, Peacemaker Pilsner. Yep. They said it had to be themed for the event and all revolving around peace and everything around that. So I thought that was kind of a cool little follow up.
And 33,000 bottles. That's almost 5 bottles per soldier.
Per soldier.
That's actually pretty impressive for the brewery to give away.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. I mean. They haven't given it yet. They are stating that if they want it, they can have it. But they're not going to just like, oh, here you go, and then no one ever use it. So, but I'm betting they probably.
I'm betting they take it.
I'm betting they take it, but I'm betting they already had like a beer, like, oh yeah, we got that brewing back there.
Right.
Let's just rename it, and or it's our standard beer we already have.
I'm sure it is.
You know, let's throw an extra ounce of hops, so whatever.
Yep.
You know,
it's the Budweiser Freedom Reserve. This special brew was.
No, it's not.
Don't you ever bring that to my office again, ever.
You know, as soon as they come up with another one, I'm going to.
I hate you. I hate you so much. I mean, you bring good stuff sometimes.
Some whatever.
But you also bring the worst beer out of everyone else.
I need to give you the spectrum.
Yeah. I don't need the spectrum, John. I've had the crap. I want the good stuff now.
You need the spectrum because you need to go back to basics to appreciate. Again, you need reminders of this is what you could be drinking.
There's a Daniel Tosh joke in there. You have to plow a 4 to appreciate an 8. It's a bad joke.
Yes.
It's a really bad joke. How do we recover from that?
I don't know.
Let's just jump into tech news.
Just go straight into it.
Straight
into news. So that was all the beer news we got today.
Yep. All right. So Intel and AMD had quite a bit of back and forth this week. I mean, they've had a lot of back and forth for the past year.
Yeah.
But this is what competition gets you. Is you get really announcements from each company about every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks one company is trying to one up the other one.
I know. Some of the times though, it seems that it's like 50% of the time, 100% of the time that it's it's crap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's crap stuff that's, oh, we beat them by outdoing this. Well, no, that's just a headline you put out there.
Right.
And then there are other times where it actually is fact and it's true, and or it's something exciting that I'm waiting for, or just it brings promise to, oh, they're moving in the proper direction that I want them to move into.
And in the last 2 weeks, both Intel and AMD have announced new products that didn't previously exist. So last week, it was maybe last Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it was. We didn't talk about it on the show, but the announcement was before last week's show.
Just before.
Right. Intel announced that they are coming out with a brand new Xeon chip that is going to have 48 cores and 12 channels of memory per socket. And it's a dual socket chip. Don't beat me to the joke. It is a dual socket capable chip. So on one board, you can have 96 cores. What is that? 192 threads and 24 channels of memory with up to 12 terabytes of memory on one motherboard. Really, really impressive specs. Well, how did they do that, you might ask? Did they finally crack 10 nanometer? Are they going to beat AMD to 7? Did they come up with a way to improve their density on the chips? Well, yes, they did come up with a rather clever method of increasing the density of their chips. Next slide.
This one,
yeah.
Yeah.
So some of you may remember that about a year ago, this was July 2017, so a little over a year ago, Intel came up with a slide internally that was right before Threadripper was released. Right before Epyc was released, sorry. So AMD had announced Threadripper, and Threadripper was basically what Intel claimed was a bunch of desktop chips glued together on a single die, sharing an I/O and sharing memory channels, and is just this woefully inefficient technology, and AMD should be embarrassed about doing it. So actually, if you scroll down here, right, that's the relevant slide, if it'll open. I don't know if it will. Nope. Anyway, you probably can't read that, but yeah, can you click? Yeah, control, there we go. So, scroll back down. Oh, right, there we go. Freaking ads loading on the page.
That's good enough.
There we go. So, Intel's holistic data center solution using a single chip on a single die is a proven system performance and innovation, which I don't know what that means. Proven system performance and innovation.
It's proven and it's innovative.
Architected for the data center and robust software and hardware ecosystem. AMD's repurposed desktop product for servers is just inconsistent performance from 4 glued together desktop dies, a poor track record with an inconsistent supplier, and a lack of a cohesive ecosystem. That was Intel's internal slides in July 2017 to their own people basically doing that, and Intel marketing to their partners, essentially. So basically saying that system will never work. Number one, they poo-pooed AMD from the beginning, going, AMD has success, but they're inconsistent. They have not consistently brought anything to the table, and they were right. I will mention.
Up till then, they were
because
right.
Remember, this is just 3 months after the launch of Ryzen. I mean, AMD had not put one product in front of the other. At this point, we're pretty confident, especially with early numbers from Zen 2.
It looks cool.
Pretty confident in what AMD can deliver at this point on the processor base and even on the Epyc server base. They are definitely impressive. Yeah. But they said they're basically just taking 4 desktop dies and gluing them together. And is that really what you want in your data centers? My, how 14 months does not look good for Intel. So Intel announced a 48-core, 12 memory channel per socket chip. But the interesting thing is that all they've done is put a single I/O substrate on the die and then put 2 of their 24-core dies with 6 memory channels each glued together in the middle. Because that's all they can do.
And it's innovative, and effective.
It's innovative and effective, and a proven track record for innovation and performance in the industry, and a cohesive.
Yes.
And in no way will this introduce any memory latency or performance or cache issues.
No.
The other thing that they forgot to mention is this is now Spectre and Meltdown patched as well. So, John, what do you think of Intel's latest innovation?
I like it. I mean, it's like, it really is kind of like a little kid going to school and getting the glue sticks and then taking to his parents and be like, look what I built. I built a cool fence. Praise me, everyone. Hang this up and say it's the greatest thing in the world. That's kind of how I feel Intel. Intel is essentially just acting like everyone in the industry is idiots.
Right.
Like, don't look into the past. Don't remember any of our articles. Don't Google anything. Mm-hmm. Just be in awe of what our headline states. And what it states is going to be fact. Don't look into the specs of everything, because it might not match up to what this headline is actually even going to promise you. Just be in awe that we have a 48-core, 12-channel memory percent.
Right.
Just be in awe of that. What's the catch? No, don't talk about the catch. Don't talk about the catch.
Whoa. No. This is going to work. Did you not hear us? 48 cores and 12 channels of memory. How could that go wrong? By the way, this is going to come on a brand new 5096 socket. So a 5096 socket that is about the same size as Threadripper. It's a massive die.
Oh, yeah.
Massive chip.
Oh, it's going to be a...
Because it's the only way they could fit their 14 nanometer lithography onto a single die.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah. So they announced that on Monday, or sometime last week, because they had to beat AMD to the punch. Yesterday, AMD had their press conference, and they did not disappoint. Now, unlike Intel, which is just gluing together their same 14 nanometer straights together, AMD announced what is their new architecture for Epyc. And that is a true 7 nanometer architecture on what they're calling chiplets.
Which is actually interesting. It's almost the exact opposite of what Intel just did.
Well, it's kind of an evolution of what Threadripper and really Ryzen does with their CCX units. But instead of calling them CCX units, they're calling them chiplets. And their chiplets have 4 dedicated cores plus their own independent memory controller. And each of those chiplets has a direct connection over to the I/O on the chip. Or I/O on the die, excuse me. And the I/O die is still going to be a 14 nanometer substrate. But the actual processing units and memory controllers are going to be on 7 nanometer.
Yeah, well, they're split into 2.
Right, exactly. Well, actually, they're split into 8. Because you can fit up to 8 of these on a single die.
Yes. That's right.
And I think if you scroll down a little bit, there's... did I not post the picture? Maybe I didn't. There was a picture of Lisa Sue holding the picture. Never mind.
No.
Oh, wait. Up. Stop. Right there. So that's the... that's Vega. Yeah. Excuse me. That's Vega.
That's graphics.
Yeah.
I don't see it now.
Anyway, it looks kind of like that. Where there's multiple...
Should be 2 more top and bottom.
Yeah. So basically, there's 2 and 2, 2 and 2 on either side of that I/O die. So what this is going to do is each chiplet has the same amount of bandwidth to the I/O, and each chiplet can read any other chiplet's memory at any given time at the same bandwidth. There's not going to be any bandwidth limitations from chiplet to chiplet, which means the latency and performance degradation that happened with Threadripper, specifically when using, there's NUMA, and then there was the other type of RAM. I'm drawing a blank on the acronym right now. When using non-NUMA memory, I'm just going to call it. So, basically, all of the performance of 64 cores and what is, I believe, 8 channels of memory, with really none of the drawbacks of gluing them together.
Oh, yeah.
In their current architecture.
Well, the nice part is once it starts working, too, they can probably manipulate it to fit into smaller areas, smaller devices. You're not going to need as big of a die.
Well, know Zen 2 is coming in March, right?
Yes. Well, this is following the 7 nanometer die, too, isn't it? Yeah. So, which I believe Intel is still in the 12.
Oh, that's good.
The cherry, right? It was really good.
It's literally the cherry on top.
Yeah.
God, that's good.
No, it's just this nice. This is going to fit into smaller spaces.
Right.
This is a smaller, less amount of even physical parts, so it should be cheaper for them to even manufacture.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and I don't know if you picked up on this. So Zen 2 we know is coming in March.
Yeah.
Ish. We know it's coming
second
late quarter 1, early quarter 2 of 2019. So I told you there's 8 cores per chiplet on there, right?
You could be potential.
Okay. Well, the old Ryzen die had 4 CCX units, 2 CCX units, and an I/O substrate. Each CCX unit could have 4 cores. Each of these 6 CCX units can have 8 cores.
So you're betting the second gen.
I think Zen 2 is going to come with a 16 core
base
on an AM4.
Yeah. That would be sweet.
Now let's get into the performance of these things. Now the Epyc 7nm chip they announced can go up to 64 cores and 128 threads. Oh, and it's multiprocessor capable as well, so you can have up to 128 cores and 256 threads on a single board. Suck it, Intel.
Without the glue.
No, this is still glued together. It's still glued topography. But here's the thing. They can do it with probably lower latency to the memory, and in fact, they're touting that this is going to be more power efficient than Intel's current Xeon offerings.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be more power efficient, and in fact, they're stating it's probably going to be at least equal in IPC, if not better in IPC, than Intel's offerings. And that is the dagger we've been waiting for. And I've mentioned this a couple times, that wait for Zen 2 if you're excited for AMD and whatnot. Oh, I really want to build a system right now. Just wait, because AMD may potentially have a CPU in the pipeline that's 16-core, 32-thread, and IPC, at least comparable IPC to maybe like an 8700K.
Yeah.
And reaches similar clock speeds. We're talking 4.7, 4.8, 4.9 on Zen 2.
And you know they're going to be way half the price.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't be no $599 for an 8-core die.
No, I'm betting they'll come out $299.
Right. No, it's going to be more than that. I'm guessing like 420, 450.
Really?
For a 16-core die.
Oh.
Maybe even more than that. Maybe 500 at a top. I'm not. But again, their 8 core is probably going to be like 250.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say their consumer version.
You can get an 8 core today for $300. The 2700X today is selling at retail for $300 with a cooler that actually works. So
that's a good price.
Yeah. But no, I would expect somewhere between the $400 and $500 mark for a 16-core Zen 2 chip. That really does take individual IPC performance to Intel.
Yeah.
Does it beat it in every single clock? Maybe not. But are you scoring 205 in Cinebench versus 211? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and then the price difference on top of that.
You're certainly not hitting the bottleneck at 180 anymore.
No, you're no longer get that 11 to 15% variance with I'm justifying it with the price now.
Right.
Now the price is easily justifiable, and you're getting a 2% drop, 1% drop.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I'm expecting. I expect Intel to still overclock higher. I expect Intel to still get the 5 gigahertz to 5.2 consistently.
Intel will have they're going to find the nitpicky points. We have the single core process is the best thing than anyone. Don't talk about
best gaming processor ever.
Best gaming processor ever. Yeah, if you have $1,200 to spend on one processor,
right.
Or you can spend this $500.
Yep.
And then spend the other $700 on a great graphics card. Exactly.
And that's not to say anything about Vega 20, which is coming out.
Yeah.
Which, and again, take this with a grain of salt, because this is AMD's own internal marketing that they're giving out. But 1 terabyte per second bandwidth of their HBM2 dies.
That's a bit much.
And 7.2 teraflops of performance. Now,
that's a bit much. Well, the teraflops maybe, but the one terabyte bandwidth.
So the 2080 Ti
claims.
I'm looking it up. Yeah, claims
14. No.
The full fat version of Turing, which it's not clear which GPU this references, is capable of 14 teraflops of FP32.
It's the same.
And that's double precision. So I don't have the right metrics in front of me. Anyway, Vega 20 is looking pretty darn good too.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I believe, a 30% improvement in power consumption.
20 to 30% improvement.
And up to 50% improvement in clocks.
Yeah.
In both clocks and performance. And up to 32 gigs of HBM2 memory.
Yeah, this is...
so...
the Vega 20 is going to be killer.
Yes.
It's going to be in all AMD systems come 2019, 2020. It's all going to be AMD.
Yep.
AMD is going to be gaming. If they continue the way they are, 2020 AMD will be lords.
Will be number one.
Will be number one.
Yeah.
2019, they'll really... People, there's still going to be the battles. There'll still be the Intel battles because there'll still be the fanboys of Intel. I'm never giving up my... best clocking performance, and I got the money to spend, and I'm PC master race, Intel master race.
Yep.
And then 2020, AMD will just...
I've ran Intel for 12 years. Yeah, but what are you, 19?
Yeah.
So I remember Athlon 64. Damn it. I remember AMD 86, or AMD 486. So...
I remember those.
Yeah. So, anyway, all we can say, competition is good for everyone, and the future is very bright right now.
Yeah.
On both sides of the fence.
On both sides. And no matter what, though, the winner is us, the consumer.
Yes, the winner is always the consumer.
The winner is
when
the
competition
consumer.
is high.
And it's great. I mean, it is kind of sad to see a little bit of Intel dropping the ball because they are a great company. We have seen them produce great stuff, and they are just dropping the ball so hard.
Yep.
It's embarrassing. Where AMD is really putting it all out there. They've put out the strides, and they're putting out great products for us to have at a really decent price too. It's just going to be fantastic. So. It's going to be a great time for buying a PC in probably 2019.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, I think 2019 AMD is going to be probably the most compelling offer. I think 2020 AMD is going to be probably the best offering out there. Because as we said a couple weeks ago, Intel either has to beat AMD at price, which they can't do, or performance, which they're not going to do. So AMD is going to pass Intel really in both metrics, and either metric looks bad for Intel over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
However, I do think Intel is forming a full reboot and will probably have a competitive product on the market early 2021, maybe late 2020, best case scenario. Because remember, it took AMD 5 years to reboot.
And I was gonna say 5 years for Intel, but they probably have a bit more capital than AMD.
Intel has a lot more capital, a lot more researchers, a lot better development department.
Yeah.
I think Intel puts out a competitive product somewhere in the 30 to 36 month range.
Yeah.
From Q1 2018.
Yeah.
Because Ryzen's original launch in March 2017 kind of caught them off guard, kind of had them staggering, and they're going, well, we still beat them in every metric, but that's looking pretty good. And it really wasn't until the beginning of 2018 that Ryzen was starting to look competitive, both on the consumer side and really in the data center side. And that's what's going to kick the living crap out of Intel.
And that's what's going to give, the nice part again is that if AMD does get that data centers area, that's going to give them a huge amount of cash, capital to go and continue to keep pushing. And no matter what, then both companies will have a lot of money to start pushing. Although Regan just donated $2.
He did.
And he had a question for you.
Could you explain the benefits of smaller nanometer? So basically smaller fab process. Layman's terms, if you're thinking of like a football field, think of all the transistors that have to go on a die. Think of a football field. Well, imagine if you could fit the same number of players on 1/4 the size, on the size of a basketball court. You're getting more efficiency, you're getting smaller size, you're getting more transistors into the same space or a smaller space. The power has to travel not as far, which means you're going to be using less power to do the same operations. and you're also going to be lowering your latency between those transistors as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking...
femtoseconds.
Yeah, I was going to say not milliseconds, but still, yeah.
Right.
And essentially, you won't have to have those big mega towers if you wanted to have those really big performance. You can have a micro XT tower, something this big, and you could be rocking some great games.
I remember my 486 DX2 was a 2.25 volt processor.
Yeah. So,
to tell you the amount of power that had to pump into that chip to run it.
You won't need heaters in your house anymore. You wouldn't need heaters. Now you will need a heater because your PC will.
Well, no, because they're going to fit more transistors. What it means is it's denser, but it's more power dense is what it is. And so if you can crank the same amount of power into it, you're generating the same 65 watts of electrical heat.
But it's not spread out.
But it's much, much more efficient at that level. So it runs cooler, technically, because the electricity is going to
not as far.
More of a confined space or a tighter space. It's not traveling as far. Lower latency, higher clocks, better overall performance. So
you're shrinking space.
That's right.
I don't have to travel as far to do the same thing. All
right. Let's move on to a beer.
All right. So like Jeff said, this is the Anderson Valley Old.
Well, that was a terrible open. Let me try that again. Hold on. There we go. That was embarrassing.
I like how it doesn't even say it's a beer. It says it's a malt beverage.
I thought anything from AMD will replace a heater. That hasn't been true for a couple of years, and in fact, Intel makes the heaters right now.
Yeah.
But none of the fanboys want to admit that. Yeah, Intel or AMD actually makes the cooling running processor, and it's much more efficient than Intel is right now. So, John, what did you think of the old fashioned that I made?
Oh, I loved it.
Okay. What did you get out of it? As you spill beer all over my desk.
I didn't get it on. I got it on the coaster. I did get a lot of sweetness, but I got that bitterness from the bitters. Very earthy sweetness. I got the orange rye zest from the ring.
Yep.
And like you said at the end, it really that cherry juice kind of settled at the bottom.
Yes, it does.
Which was really nice. Which gives us this bourbony. You do taste a little bitterness in the rye, which is nice.
Yep.
So
it's a very well balanced drink.
Yes,
is what I can say. Where the rye is kind of a bitter, kind of a harsh flavor at times, but it's really well balanced with the sugars and the citrus and a little bit of that fruit juice from the cherry. Again, we don't want to muddle it, but you can balance those flavors pretty easily. And that citrus hits your nose and it kind of preps you for that little bit of bitterness that you get in there. It's just an all-around just good drink.
It's a great drink. And the nice part is if you like more of a whiskey drink, you can put less sweetness. If you like a sweeter drink, you can put it more simple sugar.
And like I said, I like a little bit more of a bitter drink, and so I usually do a heavy pour of whiskey. I usually do 2.5 to 3 ounces instead of the 2 ounce pour I did tonight.
Yeah.
And so usually mine it's much more whiskey forward. But anyway, this is Anderson Valley Brewing Company. They're out of Boonville, California, I believe.
Yes.
And this is their old-fashioned strong ale with wild turkey bourbon in it.
Yeah. So it's 8.3%.
Yep.
Now an old ale is going to be very malty. Should be very malty, dark, roasty malt.
Right.
Very little hops.
And I noticed, carrying this up, they actually don't call this a strong ale on the bottle. They call this a malt beverage, aged in wild turkey bourbon barrels. That's what I was saying. So interesting little bit of marketing there. I don't know if that was required because they have more malt than hops in here.
Or if they have any hops in here.
Right. But this when they call it a malt beverage, that's malt liquor territory. That's old English 40.
Yeah, usually
kind of level.
A malt liquor, when they say that, it usually means there's a couple of ingredients that they didn't include that should be included in a beer. And most of the time that is a hop.
Yeah.
Of some kind.
Exactly. Yeah. A malt beverage is a beverage that is
essentially just malt and sugar.
It's malt, sugar,
or yeast.
Right. I'm really surprised Budweiser isn't considered a malt beer.
Well, they do throw 1 pound of hops in every 30, 40 gallons, which isn't a whole lot.
John, how many pounds of hops do you put in your 5-gallon
Oh, I don't not yeah. Let's see. I put 13 ounces for 5 gallons.
Yeah, so you're almost a pound at 5 gallons.
I'm almost a pound at 5 gallons.
Eric Del Toro donated $2 as well to Regan. That's called an FX 9370, 9590 exactly. Yeah, those were 200 watt or 220 watt TDP FX chips running 8 cores. Yeah, those were little space heaters. Although nothing beats the Pentium D Prescotts.
What do you think of this?
I got the first drink, and usually I try not to think about it too much on the first one. So I'll just drink it and get it over with, and kind of cleanse my palate, so to speak. I start to think about it on the second drink. So I'll go in and I'll smell and I'll think. So give me a second here.
All right.
Well, there's almost nothing on the nose. That's weird.
No, yeah, that's...
there's almost no nose to this beer.
There's some interesting... Anderson Valley seems to be a lot of hit and misses for me. I really liked their GT Goes, which was a gin and tonic inspired beer. Jeff and I even had a couple of those before. They even do an Imperial gin barrel aged.
Their G&T Goes barrel aged.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah, that one actually tastes like... That's just gin. It just tasted like gin, which is amazing for a beer.
Yes.
And then they have, I don't know, beers like this, which is, to me, it's a middle beer. I had a beer earlier today, which someone asked me, Steve, my brother, asked me, how does it taste? And I had to describe it. It tastes like an old-fashioned bourbon barrel-aged beer. This, to me, tastes new. Fashioned, where it wasn't aged that long. It was rushed.
It was definitely not aged that long. I'm not getting any oak, any char, any smoke.
Yeah.
Anything that I would expect out of a whiskey barrel.
Yeah. Especially Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey's harsh.
It is a harsh flavor.
You would think you're going to get a lot of harshness.
And I'm not getting it.
No, and I'm wondering if they did a whole we aged it, but they're not going to tell you, so we aged it for 3 months.
Right.
Which in aging a beer in a barrel, it's just like any kind of liquor. You need, at a minimum, at least a year for the weather to expand the wood, to suck it in like a sponge, extract it out, and everything like that. You need to rotate.
Yep. In the world of liquor and beers both, you cannot fake time. You cannot cheat time.
No.
You can fool it every once in a while, but you can't cheat it. And there's methods to kind of speed it up, but those sped up methods make it more harsh or change the flavor profile or do this or do that. Because great example. There is a product on the market right now that are these little staves. They're these wooden staves that you can drop into a cheap whiskey, and they say it turns it into a 7-year whiskey. Yeah. Or a 12-year whiskey. It takes a cheap whiskey and it makes it better. Makes it taste like it was aged longer. And while it does smooth out the whiskey a little bit, it's missing some of the nuance of a true 12-year whiskey. So I can take a Johnny Walker Black, and I can drop those staves in there. And by the way, those staves are like $20.
Yeah, they're almost at the price of a Johnny Walker.
Right, so I'm paying like $19 or no, it's $30 for like a Johnny Walker.
Yeah, so you're paying $50 now.
Yeah. So now I took my $30 whiskey and I'm paying $50 to drop these wooden staves in there, let it age for 7 days, kind of swirl it around every once in a while to kind of break it up. And it tastes better. I'm not going to say it doesn't taste better, but if I taste a $70 Johnny Walker Black 12, that is completely different. It is smooth. It is this rich, smoky, woody flavor to it. You can taste the peat in there. You can taste everything else. Where, it improved it, but it's not a 12.
It's not a 12. It's not what they advertise that as. It's the same thing with homebrewing. It's so hard as a homebrewer to do a barrel-aged beer. A lot of even Jeff's patrons that do brew beer. In fact, if you want to join Jeff's patrons and find more about this, it's only $1 to do that. And we have a lot of good conversations. But a lot of people just don't.
Before it goes off my screen, the D, $5. I can confirm the Prescott was a space heater. My bedroom in my parents' basement didn't need the baseboard heaters with that thing on under my desk.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
No.
I ran a Pentium D Prescott in my server originally. That was one of my first server builds was with a Pentium D Prescott. Oh man, that thing was hot. It was a Pentium D 905, which look that one up. There was no keeping that chip cool. I think it idled at 60. I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get heatsink from you today.
Okay. Yeah. Thermal compound.
Thermal compound.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, not heatsink. But no, it is very hard. Like homebrewers, to make that quick homebrew barrel aged beer, a lot of times we just dump liquor, like a shot or two.
Yep.
It's not the same. It
Not the
really
same.
isn't the same.
Yep.
And it costs $100 a barrel, and you got to make 35 gallons of beer just to make one barrel, and then you got to age it for a year. So.
Yep.
But that's what this tastes like. It tastes like it's not been aged. It tastes like they took a shot of liquor and put it in the barrel.
There's other ways to kind of fake the aging process and to make it age quicker. You'll see small batch stuff where they'll age it in a 9-gallon barrel instead of 35-gallon barrel. I'm talking about whiskey here, where they'll age it in a 7 or a 9-gallon barrel. What that does is it increases the density of your char. And so there's more whiskey, or there's more char to whiskey in that ratio. And it does get more of that smoky flavor in it faster, but it's a harsher flavor. It is not as smooth. You're not getting as much oak, you're getting more char.
You still need to buy that bottle and let it sit on your shelf for a year or two.
Right.
To really appreciate it. They may even sit there and say, "Oh, it's a 2000 brewed in 2000 or distilled in 2017, it's 2018. Yep. You still need to let it sit for 2-3 years on your shelf.
Yes.
It needs to mellow out. And this just tastes rush.
Yes, it does.
It's not horrible.
I was going to say it tastes like a 6-month age. I wouldn't even give it that.
No,
I'm going to say a 3-month.
Yeah,
I think
it tastes like it tastes 3 months.
Because I know what wild turkey tastes like. And I think if I dig for it... Hold on a second here. If I dig for it, it's there kind of in the middle, but it's really muddled. It's not present.
No, it's not. I think this whole old ale, malt liquor, they're just going for a maltiness. There's no bitterness. There's no orange.
No.
They did a really great job on the barrel-aged GT Goats.
Yes.
This is a miss, in my opinion.
This is a miss. It's not even a very good strong ale.
No.
And to me, when you're going to barrel age a beer or theme a beer, your base beer has to be good.
Yes.
And this is a mediocre strong ale at best.
Yes.
I mean, the color is good, but there's no nose on it at all. And to me, when I've got a strong ale, I expect kind of that rich flavor right on top of it.
Yeah.
And almost like a creamy kind of consistency to it.
It can have a creamy, arrogant bastard from Sun. That's a strong ale, but it's very hoppy. It's a hoppy strong ale.
Yes. Yeah.
But actually, I had it recently, and I was like, I haven't had it in so long, but then I drank it. I was like, this is still a good quality beer. It's been around for 25 years, but it's still so good. It was just, it's complex, it's smooth. This is just rushed.
Yeah.
I almost want to take, I think this was mine. Is this mine?
Yeah, that's yours.
I want to do
Are you going
this.
to little spritz it?
Yeah, I kind of want to do this.
I'm going to do a half an ounce of rye in it. I'm going to see if I can fix this. So I'm going to do the same thing.
Ooh,
I'm going
helped.
to take the orange. So I added a half ounce of rye. I'm going to see if I can...
That did not help. It helped the aroma, but it didn't help the taste.
Oh,
God.
And I'm going to dash it with bitters.
Oh my gosh, look at the...
Yep. There we go.
I'm betting that's not going to taste good.
I'm going to try it. We're trying to fix it. We're adding all the base ingredients of an old fashioned that they say are there.
You're going to need to add that simple syrup is what you're going to need to do.
I may.
This is nasty. This is getting close to the tequila and...
No, it's not nearly that far.
What was that?
We've done far worse. That was tequila and peppermint schnapps.
Better?
Better. Go ahead.
Okay, it's a much better aroma.
Much better aroma. Much better on the nose.
It's a little better.
A little better. It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good, but it's better.
I think I'm gonna I might just...
Little dash of bitters actually did help.
What? Give me the simple syrup.
Simple.
And
actually, you're right. Maybe sweetening up would help a little bit more.
I think sweetening up. I think the rye.
Yeah.
the bourbon really screwed it. All right, you want to get to...
Anyone have a recommendation for an inexpensive whiskey that isn't too bad? Seagram 7 is usually what I go with. It's an American blended whiskey. You can pick it up for about $12 for a fifth or $20 for a handle.
Yeah.
Get the handle of it because it's a great value.
Yeah.
You get a lot of whiskey and a lot of good quality whiskey. I even drink that straight. I really do.
It's got a sweetness up front.
Yep.
A bit harsh at the back end, but it's sweet enough up front if you just shoot it, or you can sip it. Mm-hmm. And if you sip it with some ice, it's even better. Mm-hmm. It can be a shooting whiskey too.
Yep.
But it's a decent mid-grade Seagram 7 grade cocktail.
Yes.
Whiskey.
It's a good... I use it for my house whiskey for cocktails. If I have like bulk cocktails that I want to make, or I have friends over, it's like, grab the Seagram 7.
Try that. So that's no whiskey. It tastes like flat soda now.
Oh, weird.
Right?
I like mine better.
Yeah.
I like mine better.
Just gonna add the rest of this.
One of us mixes liquor for...
I think you can do that all you want, man. We'll go more beer. This just tastes like...
One of us knows the flavor profiles of whiskey a little bit better.
Hey, I can throw whiskey in there. It's fine, but it just wasn't... Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was disappointed. I was really looking forward to that.
I was
beer.
too. I was,
and you know what? It actually gets a.
I've had this in my fridge for like 2 months, and it gets a 3.8 on Untapped.
Yeah, it gets a decent rating. Anything 3.5 is like, oh, I could drink this all day type thing.
Yep. Use an eye draw. Okay, we're talking about whiskey here.
Oh, are you talking about water?
What was the name again, Jeff? The whiskey. Seagram 7.
Yeah.
Yep. Seagram 7. It's actually...
You hear a lot of 7 on 7.
Yeah.
You can get that, which is Seagram 7 and 7 Up.
Yep.
That's a very...
the bottle's downstairs, but yeah, Seagram 7.
It's got a very large red 7 on it. You can't miss it.
Yeah. It's got a 7 with a little crown on top.
Yeah, it's middle shelf.
Yep. Let's see. Usually go for a bit more expensive for the Jameson. Yeah, Jameson Black Barrel, amazing.
Jameson's not too bad. It's about $20 for a bottle.
It's about $35 for the Jameson Black.
Oh, black, yes, but
about $20 for the Jameson Red. I'm not a fan of Jameson Red. No, I think it's too hollow.
No, I still dig the casks. The Jameson.
Oh, the Caskmate, yeah, and those are about $30.
Yeah, about $35. 25. I think the stout's actually only 25.
It's been 30 every time I've seen it.
Okay. But that actually, I made an old fashioned with that.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Jameson Whiskey actually retweeted a picture of mine that I did when I made an old fashioned with the Caskmates.
Yeah, the Caskmates one is...
That got me so happy.
That's a great one because it has this nice chocolatey smokiness to it. It just tastes amazing. Mm-hmm. I would love to have tried the beer that Jameson was aged in.
Damn, how much these dudes have. This is literally our second drink. So, whoa. Jameson Caskmate Stout's good stuff. For a bourbon, my favorite bourbon is Elijah Craig. Elijah Craig Small Batch.
Yeah.
It's about $25 to $30. During the holidays, it's usually a little bit cheaper. Right now, I think it's $25. But that is a really good bourbon. And it's a good all-around bourbon. You can do anything you want with it. You can sip it, you can shoot it, you can mix it, you can do whatever. Did not care for the IPA version. Yeah, the IPA version I could take it.
Yeah, it wasn't really that great.
The stout edition is amazing.
Yeah, the stout one amazingly really is the best. Well, what is it? Even the little bottles, they're only like $9.
Yeah, it's about $9 for the little pint.
For the little pint bottles, which is still fine.
Yeah. All right. Modern Rogue, good video on tasting whiskey. And actually, the Modern Rogue videos of going and tasting whiskey, he went and visited Daniel of the Whiskey Tribe or the Whiskey Academy. They have their own YouTube channel as well. So the Modern Rogue is a good intro to that life. If you want to really dive deep into it, look up the Whiskey Tribe on YouTube. Daniel, it's the Sommelier and the Mooch.
Oh, yeah.
And they have some amazingly good videos. On learning how to taste whiskey. So
Steve's is all about craft beer. Or Buffalo Trace, sorry. You know what?
Buffalo Trace is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite bourbon.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what kind of reminds me of? high-end Jack Daniels for some reason. It reminded me of high-end Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Like, this is what top shelf Jack Daniels tastes like.
Right.
That's kind of what it... To me, that's... It just... I have...
Daniel and Rex. Thank you. Yep.
Oh, yeah. It just reminds me of that.
He's the mooch. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, go look up Whiskey Tribe if you're interested in learning how to taste whiskey. Because they have some amazing hints on how to do it. Did YouTube just die?
Oh, what? What's your...
Wow. We just dropped entirely for a second. I didn't do anything.
No, that was weird. The screenshot right there. That's
gonna make the thumbnail.
That's gonna make the thumbnail.
I didn't expect that to record. That's awesome. Oh, that's great. It recovered. Okay.
Yeah. It looked like everyone.
My stream dropped out for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Here. That was weird.
Everyone says it looked just like a hiccup.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reliability of my internet right now. I'm uploading at 1 megabit.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else. So, yeah, if I can't hold this, then,
I'm taking this orange out. I'm not liking this.
I'm actually digging my orange in there. Like I said, it's still not good. Overall, I'm very unimpressed.
I'll drink it.
Very unimpressed. I'll drink it. It's better than the Copper Reserve.
I don't know. I would drink the Copper Reserve over this.
No.
Yes.
Anything that they have to backfill with rice to meet the grain quotient, I am not a fan of.
The Copper Reserve, I don't know. It's just
when I get that artificial ricey taste in a beer, I'm out. I'm just straight out.
This has artificial bourbon.
It does.
And that's...
Mine has actual bourbon.
Yeah.
Or mine has rye.
Rye. I don't know. This just... I mean, it's okay. If I was right, this is 2.5.
Yeah. I'd go 2.0.
Yeah.
I'd go 2.0. Like, I'll drink it, but... Oof.
Yeah. I don't know about a 22, like a 12. I think a 12 would be decent. But,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to re-pour my bottle. No, I'm going to let the rest of that sit.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, this... it's funny. It's stuff like this can actually make people sick. I think there's actually a couple really weird beers out there that can make people sick. Oh, like that. Was that good? Wasn't that good? No one knows what I'm doing here, but that was great.
Good Lord.
I figured we might need to get back to the show.
That's a dad joke of segues is what that is. I was going to find a way to transition. Whatever. Just go.
Just go.
Just go.
Just go on with it.
Just go. John, how could that possibly make you sick? And how would you keep track of said information?
This is a stupid article anyways. I didn't find this. I'm kind of surprised.
It was a slow news week, and all of a sudden it just went shoo.
I know.
So it's still in here. Let's talk about it.
You left it on here. I was like, this is stupid.
I know.
But okay.
I thought it was interesting. It's an interesting...
Okay. Hey, hang on. Let's get back to it.
Go.
What it is. Google. Was it Google? It was Google. Google invented or is proposing this new algorithm, this new AI, technically, that they have that will help identify foodborne illnesses and basically restaurants that's gonna give you bad food, that have bad hygiene and bad just all around service. Not service. Cleanliness.
Yes.
But what it is it's all what I found horrible about it is it's all reliant on your GPS. And that's it's
relying on your GPS and your search data.
And it's basically saying, if I had a friend that was sick or someone else that was sick, like my son got sick from something else, but I visited a Chinese restaurant the other day, it's going to ding that Chinese restaurant.
No, but only you. If there were 20 people who visited that Chinese restaurant and those 20 people... So here's what's Google is proposing is they think that they can track not only food poisoning, but identify the restaurants that it comes from based on user location history and search history.
But you have to opt to allow your location history to be tracked.
Right. So, someone says slippery slope, but it's interesting information from an analytics standpoint. I'm not getting into the morality standpoint of this. I'm getting into the analytics side point of this.
I was getting morality.
And again, if my data is only being mined and it can't be tied back to me, I have less of a problem with that than you might think, because your TV viewing history does the same thing. And your internet history does the same thing. And your this and your that does the same thing.
No, but this is reliant upon GPS.
It is relying on GPS. But if that GPS cannot be relinked to Jeff went to such and such sketchy place.
But it's relying upon your GPS and then your search of using Google.
Right.
Again,
so here's what they're proposing. They're saying we can identify restaurants that have generated foodborne pathogens or foodborne illness or food poisoning to their customers based on what people visited their restaurant and then later on searched for food poising symptoms, food poisoning cures. How do I get over food poisoning? Based on their search analytics. Right, exactly. Now, again, you might search food poisoning and maybe you eat out to these 13 restaurants in the last 5 days. Yeah. That's a high number. Maybe you eat out a lot and you search for food poisoning. But if no one else searched for food poisoning who visited those restaurants, or maybe one person did, it's really not going to ding it. What they're looking for is trends. They're looking for a subset of 80 people who visited these restaurants, and then 30 of them then reported, hey, food poisoning. And all of them have this one restaurant in common. Well, then that one restaurant, they might get a surprise visit from the health inspector.
Yes.
And so...
Which what they did, so they tested this in 2 cities. They tested this in Las Vegas and was it LA? It wasn't LA. Texas? Chicago. It was Chicago. Las Vegas and Chicago. And what they did find that the people that had opted to do this and everything, there was a 52% increase in likeliness that what it was, these lists for inspectors to go and check these restaurants is really what this whole thing was about, was to generate anonymous lists for health inspectors to go and check these restaurants to make sure they're cleanliness. These inspectors had a 52% more accurate list, where when they were randomly doing it was a 39% accuracy list. I owned a tap room. For 2 years, I did get inspected. Really, if you have a decent record, you only get inspected once a year.
Right.
You might get a surprise visit, but even the inspector told me it's like once every 9 months that they even kind of plan it.
Right. And if I don't see anything in that on that day that you're inspected, you're probably not getting visited for 9 months.
Yeah.
If I've got like 4 violations and you're kind of on the fence, I'm going to visit you in 2 months to make sure that they've been fixed.
The violations have been fixed, and a lot of it too they don't even observe how you do things. They're just like, oh, you have a freezer. Let me check the temp. You're good.
Yep.
What's
the temperature of your fryer oil?
Yep. That's it. Oh, your fryer's off? We're not going to check it then. Literally, that's again how a lot of them are, because they have to do a lot of them.
Yep.
I do like the numbers, but I don't like the privacy issue.
A lot of people don't, and it is a big hurdle to get over. And I'm not going to say I'm pro tracking. I don't want to say that. Because the data has to be obfuscated from the person.
Yeah.
If they're going to track, it has to be independent of any other relevant data. And the problem is what they're doing here is they are tying your search history with your GPS coordinates. And you'd be really shocked to learn how easy it is for someone to build a profile of you based on your internet history, or based on your travel history, or based on your gas receipts from where you get gas from. How easy it is to determine where you live and where you work and where you go and what you do. Just based on where you buy gas at, or where you buy your groceries at, or what restaurants you frequent. It's really easy to rebuild someone's life based on cookie crumbs they leave along the way.
Yeah.
And your GPS is probably one of the most valuable cookie crumbs you have.
Oh yeah, I know. I had a friend of mine who got frustrated. He was like, "How did my Google search know I was heading home when I didn't tell it to do anything? I just hit Google Maps." I was like, "Well, is your GPS all the time? Do you allow it to do that?"
So I will say, I'm about a 1 year Android convert. I've been iOS for the better part of the smartphone market, and in fact, I beat all of you to it with a Palm Trio. You young whippersnappers, get off my lawn! So anyway, I switched from iOS to Android right around a year ago. It was around last November-ish. November, December. So one thing that I noticed with my Android phone is if I sit down at any restaurant at any time, period, or if I'm next door or in the parking lot of that restaurant, and I pull out my phone and I turn it on and I look at my notification links right there, what I find is that it will say, hey, do you want to review the McDonald's you're sitting at right now?
Yep. I get a lot of that. Hey, what did you think of the Burger King?
Right. Yeah. Do you want to see an indoor map for Walmart?
Yeah. Rate this Safeway for you. Or somebody uses it Sam's Club or whatever it is.
It is my phone actively asking me for a review for the location that I am at, or giving me a menu, or giving me an indoor map, or giving me some way to give them information about where I've been. Yeah. Accurately where I've been. And that's a little bit, I'm going to say it's weird, but at the same time, does it provide a useful service? And in some ways it does. So what is the trade-off? Yeah, where is your threshold of it's useful versus it's creepy?
Oh, the thing is, I think to the standard user, the 16 to 25-year-old, they don't care because they're like, oh, look, check out this feature. It's such an awesome feature. It tells you exactly what I'm doing.
There are 60-year-olds who are using this feature, who are actively reviewing on Yelp, who are doing this, who are doing that.
It's kind of almost like, I don't want to say that, but love the attention and love something to do. I think that middle ground,
I think there's a lot more olds with smartphones that are actively using these features than you think.
And possibly, I think older people might have a bit more opinion. I do find myself, the older I get, and I'm not saying I'm an old person or old people like this, but the older I get more, I like quality. And I want to voice my opinion that I will pay that $2 to $3 more for quality versus crap. And I find that. And I think older people do. The older just people get, the more they expect out of life because we've lived longer.
Well, absolutely. But we're kind of in that transitional generation, you and I.
Yes.
Where we grew up and the information that we got from our schools and from our parents was don't trust anything you read on the internet. You cannot use the internet as a credible source because anyone can get on the internet and they can write whatever they want. And when I was in high school, you could not in college.
You can source for reports.
I couldn't source from Wikipedia Wikipedia didn't exist, but I couldn't source from an online page because it wasn't reliable.
No, I had to do all books.
I had to do all books. I had to cross-reference with catalog card numbers.
Yep.
And
if you don't know how to look up a book by a catalog card number, bad.
Get off my lawn. Yeah. Regan, $2. My phone gives reviews for my school's dining hall. Yep. Anywhere you can eat, anywhere you can buy something, anywhere you can visit has a review, and Google will ask you about it.
You want to go to school, like, oh, we got the best cafeteria in 30 miles.
Right. That's important to some people.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when John and I were kids, it was you cannot trust anything on the internet. Don't give anyone on the internet your information. And then those same parents who were preaching to me, don't trust anything, don't tell them anything, don't let them control your lives and whatnot, are now the ones who are freely giving this information away to Facebook.
But I don't think they know because I think so you and I are both into IT.
I think they do know.
No, I don't think they know because we work with you and I are both in different but similar fields of IT to where we have idiot users. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to put my password in and whatever. And, I just logged in with my Facebook account. I don't care because I don't want to remember my password. How many older folks are like that to where I don't want to remember this. I just want to log in with one account to everything. By doing that, you're linking all of your information. You log in with your Facebook account or Google account to all these sites. Everything you Google, it goes to that site now.
I think sharing the password is a conceptual misunderstanding of how the passwords work.
No, I'm not talking about that. We're not sharing passwords.
As far as logging in with Google, they probably don't understand that. But as far as they put all their information into Facebook, they know what they're typing into Facebook.
But
do they know why they're using it or how they're using it?
I don't think they understand that Facebook also sells and mines their data.
Yep.
And gives it away, not freely, because, oh no, once they do that and they get caught, they're, well, we didn't mean to do this.
Right.
We talked about that a long time ago. But that's where I think old people love the social media aspect of Facebook. I don't think Twitter or Snapchat or anything like that. But to reconnect with people and the
certainly hope my parents aren't on Snapchat.
they're on Tinder, Jeff. It's fine. The ease of just being able to access multiple things and downloading apps and games and being able to play. So go ahead.
Yep. Pretty soon you won't be able to make toast without being connected to the Internet of Things. You really already can't. No. There are smart toasters out there that will tweet when you toast things. There are smart fridges, so you can do everything from your fridge and are integrated into Amazon. So if you need eggs, you can go, oh, I ran out of eggs. I need eggs. And you can tap eggs on your fridge, and the very next day, an Amazon refrigerator truck delivers eggs to your house.
Truck? You mean drone?
Yeah.
It's a drone now. Yeah, and then you're going to get it from Whole Foods because Amazon bought out Whole Foods.
Yep.
So... you can go and type in your list now on your fridge, and somehow it's magically synced to your phone. And that's another thing too. I think that is what it is we have our generation teaching the older ones. You can do this with your phone, and so we preset it up for them.
Yep.
And it's just it's okay. It's secure because my son set it up for me.
Right.
No, just stay here and stay within this square. But they want to keep branching out.
I know a guy, and I'm not going to name him because he occasionally watches my streams. I know a guy who is one of the most intelligent, precise, analytical thinkers that I know. But he's 52. Mm-hmm. Okay? And it's
Which is not old. It's not old.
And it's not my dad. Dad, if you're watching, it's not you. but there's a guy that I know who's very precise, very analytical, very thorough, very exact in the way that he thinks about things, and very intelligent in the way he dissects things. Mm. He got this is the IRS calling, and we have a warrant for your arrest, and the local police are on their way to come arrest you. And unless you deposit $500 in Walmart gift cards.
Oh, man.
No, he didn't do it.
Okay.
But he was on the phone for 20 minutes.
Like freaking out? Or
like freaking out.
Oh.
Like trying to determine, is this real? Oh my God. Like he's self-employed.
Okay.
And so he's going, oh my God, I screwed up my tax returns in 2007? Like, what? And he could not get over the fact that some Indian guy was calling him asking for $500 in Walmart gift cards. He didn't put that together.
Yeah.
And like I said, this guy is one of the most intelligent people that I know. And I went, you didn't smell bullshit on that in the first 7 seconds?
Yeah, I know. I when you said 20 minutes, I was like, well, I've been on the phone with them for 20 or 30 minutes more, but I'm
stringing them along. I'm making sure they don't screw anyone else in their 8-hour shift.
Yeah, I know.
12-hour shift. 12. Sorry.
Because that just makes me so much fun. I even
no, my dad's not 52. He's older than that.
There was even one time I had a guy on the phone. And I have a call center in part of my department, so we have to. I listen to some of the trainers and how they talk, and I will say
my mom's not 50 yet.
I even had to give this guy pointers of like, okay, dude, you gave up too fast. You have to say this to me.
Yeah.
Now say it back again. And I was coaching this guy for at least 15 minutes of how he should have sold me and would have got me into it. Yeah. But that was the best. I was like, oh. And then I hung up and they're like, wait, what did I just do?
So I do want to get to a question real quick. Eric Del Toro, $5. Thank you, Eric. Another one of my patrons. Since we're talking about reviews and information, how do we feel about aged whiskeys? And is older better, or is it not that granular?
Okay, wait. How aged? That's the thing. I think there's a definition in age.
So I'm going to quote the Whiskey Tribe here. Okay. I'm going to quote Daniel from the Whiskey Tribe. What is the best bourbon out there? What is the best bourbon in the world?
It's the bourbon I like.
It's the bourbon you like to drink.
Yeah.
And what's the best way to drink it?
However I want to drink it.
The way you like to drink it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Is a 12-year bourbon better than a 3-year bourbon? Probably, but it's up to you.
Where are you at?
Right. And taste is subjective. And there's a great scene from the Modern Rogue episode of the Whiskey Tribe where Brian Brushwood and
Max?
No. Rex is the other guy on Whiskey Tribe. He wasn't on the Modern Rogue one. It's Jason Murphy. So Brian Brushwood and Jason Murphy go over to Daniel's whiskey vault, and he goes, I'm just going to recreate this now. So talking about taste is subjective. John, what's your favorite food?
Probably I'm gonna go pizza.
Well, I've had pizza. You're wrong. Who's the asshole in that situation?
You are.
It's not John talking about pizza and how John likes pizza. It's me telling me that John is wrong for liking pizza. Okay? Now, take that to whiskeys. Okay? John, I really like a Johnny Walker Black 12-year. It's smoky, it's rich, it's harsh, it punishes you for drinking it, but it rewards you at the same time. Now, John, what's your favorite whiskey?
I like Seagram 7.
You like Seagram 7? Seagram 7 sucks.
Screw you, Jeff.
Who's the asshole in that situation? You have to taste different whiskeys to learn whether or not you're going to like them.
Yeah.
And no one can tell you you're wrong. That's the cool thing about whiskey. And that's the cool thing about taste in general and feelings in general is you're not wrong. Your subjective experience is your subjective experience, and I can't objectively judge you on that. So while I can tell you my opinions on different whiskeys, and I can say one of my best budget whiskeys is a Seagram 7. One of my favorite budget bourbons is an Elijah Craig. One of my favorite Irish whiskeys is a Jameson Black or Jameson Caskmate Stout. And one of my favorite ryes is a Bulleit 95. That's up to you. Maybe you like a Buffalo Trace. Maybe you like this. Maybe you like that. It's up to you. And do I like more aged whiskeys? Yes, of course I do. I've got the 12-year James T. Kirk bourbon, which is an amazing 12-year bourbon.
Great.
I've got the Johnny Walker Black 12. I've had a Glenfiddich 18. That's an amazing scotch, but it's also freaking expensive, and I don't think it's worth the money.
Yeah.
And so while it's delicious and I'll drink it if someone hands it to me, I'm not going to go out and blow $130 on a Glenfiddich 18. Or a Bulleit, or a Bulleit 12.
Finding your palate, finding your flavors. I think a good bartender and a good friend would ask you these questions too. Like, I mean, again, when I owned the tap room and everything, I would ask customers. I wouldn't ask them, they would ask me, what's your favorite? And I say, I'm not going to tell you what my favorite is.
Right.
I want to know.
Because my favorite doesn't matter.
Yeah, my favorite doesn't matter.
My favorite is going to be completely different than your favorite.
Yeah, I always told them, and I always asked them, I don't care what I like. What flavors do you like? And then they would describe stuff to me, and then I would sample things out that I think tasted like that. Yep. And I think a lot of people appreciated that. That's what a good bartender, trying to find any kind of flavor palette is. What you like is different than what I like. What I like in beers is different than what Jeff likes in beers. What my brother Steve likes in beers. And alcohol and whiskey.
Totally.
Everything is different. But what we all appreciate is the nuances of just trying them.
Yes.
That's the beauty of trying anything. An aged, a non-aged. If you can find a cheap whiskey that you love, maybe 2 points. It's kind of almost like the AMD versus Intel. Is the price point and the performance worth?
Are you getting what you expect out of it, and do you like it?
Yeah. Is it worth the same amount? Possibly, possibly not. Are you going to be one of those dedicated people? I have to spend $1,200.
I get a lot of questions on the YouTube channel. Should I upgrade my PC? I don't know.
What do you want to do?
That's not up to me. Well, I have a Ryzen 1600, and I'm thinking about upgrading to the 2600. No, you shouldn't, because that's a stupid move. Because you're going to gain 6 to 7% in performance, maybe a little bit better power efficiency.
And what game
to
are you
to spend $170 on it? No, that's a stupid move. Okay, well, I've got a GTX 960, and should I upgrade? Well, I don't know. What games do you play? Are you happy with the performance of those games? Is there anything you can't play right now?
Yeah.
Do you have the 2 gig or the 4 gig? And your subjective experience is up to you to determine. I'm sitting down, I've got an FX 8350 and a GTX 960. And you know what, gosh darn it, I'm getting frame drops in Metro Last Light or and I'm trying to play GTA 5 and I'm getting frame drops down to like the 20s, and that's just not acceptable to me. Yes, you should probably upgrade. You should probably upgrade your GPU. That'll be your best bang for the buck. You should probably go with like a 1050 Ti if you don't want to spend too much money, or maybe jump to like a 1060. There you go. Yeah. It's up to you to determine, is it worth it for me? Whereas some people, and this is going to sound so blasphemous, some people are okay with frame drops down into the 20s.
Again, it comes
down
to...
Some people are okay with it.
What game are you playing?
Some people are okay at 45. As long as my low frames are 40 and above, I don't give two shits.
What? Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't need to play games at
don't
maximum
care.
ultra
Don't care.
resolution.
Don't care.
I don't need to do half of that stuff.
Right.
I'm not a competitive gamer.
Yep.
That's the thing. I understand competitive gaming doing that. Half of my gaming is done at midnight to 2 in the morning with a couple of drinks in me.
Yep.
And I just want to have some fun. I just want to shoot some stuff and blow some stuff up.
Do you know what I've spent 2 weeks binge playing right now? It's not the PC. It's my Xbox One, the original launch edition of the Xbox One, playing Red Dead Redemption. So,
it's not even 2. It's not even 2.
No, of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
Now, I did play Red Dead Redemption on my Xbox One for the 2 weeks prior to it coming out to kind of refresh the world and what are the controls like again and whatnot.
But what's the frame rate? What's the refresh rate? What's all everything on the wall?
Oh, it peaks at like 28 and drops into the teens.
Yeah.
And I don't give two shits because it's a great game.
Right.
This is objectively the worst version of the game, playing on the original Xbox One. And you know what?
And it'll never come out on PC.
Freaking love it.
It'll never come out on PC.
It will.
In a year.
It is too much of a cash cow not to.
It'll come out in a year.
Right.
You got one more. Mm-hmm. Do you want to just?
We're gonna skip a couple topics. I want to do the Microsoft one real quick, and then I want to jump down to the games.
Okay.
Okay,
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit this question and let's go to the next one.
Eric Del Toro, another $5. I'm trying to get a whiskey as a present that's the same age as the other two items I'm going to send them. Which the other two items are 11 years old.
You're going to be spending a bit.
Go look at the Jane Walker edition of the Johnny Walker 12.
If you can find it. It's not easy to find.
Today in my liquor store, the Jane Walker 12 was $30.
Now, Jameson, it's the exact same.
It's the exact same as the Johnny Walker Black 12.
Sorry, Johnny Walker, yeah.
Yeah, so the Jane Walker Black 12, it's $30 right now.
The only difference in it is the labeling, the packaging.
Right.
The liquor inside is the exact same. It just has a female versus a male.
Barring
that is it.
Barring that, go look at the Glenlivet 12. You can get a Glenlivet 12 for about $35 to $40. And the Glenlivet is an amazingly good scotch.
Glenlivet, and you're going to get that if you like peaty scotches.
Right. It's
a great peaty scotch. You don't like peatiness.
Right.
Which, if you don't know what peatiness means, because some people don't. Smoky.
Yeah,
Smoky.
Right.
And I'm not talking, we're talking campfire smoky.
Yeah.
It is peatiness.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to dump this on some ribs and barbecue smokiness.
Yep, exactly. A Glenlivet or the Jane Walker 12 are both great 12-year scotches that you can get in about the $30 to $40 range. Bourbons, you're actually looking a little bit more than that to get a 12-year bourbon. Same thing with a rye. So I would tend to look at the scotches because you can tend to get those a little less expensive in the 12-year in probably a reasonable price point for you. All right, Microsoft. BitLocker. There you go. That one.
Yep, this one.
All right, so... and there's actually an update to the story, and I didn't get a chance to post the article, but we'll talk about that in a second.
This is interesting if you have one.
Yes. So for those who use BitLocker is Microsoft's encryption service for Windows.
And horrible, but...
Right. So basically what it is, it's a hardware encryption or a software encryption. Got the hiccups all of a sudden. It's bound to happen.
Third time in a row. Third show in a row.
I blame this beer. That's what I blame. So basically, BitLocker is a built-in encryption service for your SSD or hard drive inside of Windows 10. And it actually started with Windows 7 Ultimate Edition. So basically what it is it encrypts your drive, and you can either use a USB key that you can put an RSA key onto.
Yeah, you can have a key.
Or you can have a password.
Yeah.
Right. So, what some researchers have found at Radeon University have found that they can bypass the encryption on self-encrypting SSDs. And what they found they didn't test a lot of SSDs, but they did test a lot of Samsungs and a lot of Crucials, and they pretty much bypassed all of them. And what they found is that Samsung and Crucial are responsible for about 50% of the SSD market right now.
Yeah, it's still what they were saying, though. What they're doing, it's still pretty in-depth stuff.
It's some pretty in-depth stuff, but they executed it for a pretty meager sum.
Oh, yeah. No, it didn't take much.
So they did this with $100 in off-the-shelf components.
Yes. No, it didn't take much, but it takes a bit of engineering to do it. If you have an SSD, either one of these SSDs,
right.
They are going to release a list of them shortly.
So they tested and could break pretty much any of the retail samples that they tested of the Crucial MX 100, 200, and 300 series drives, the Samsung T3 and T SSDs, as well as the Samsung 840 and 850 EVO internal SSDs. No. And they said because they were able to break it with these, they suspect a lot more of similar products are capable of this attack.
Yeah.
Or susceptible to this
attack. Now, they have to have your hard drive on
physical access. Have to have physical access.
So it's not something you need to worry about it being hacked or anything like that. But a lot of times the BitLocker or whatever it is.
But typically the point of encryption is to prevent against physical attacks.
Exactly. Is the fact that you're handing these hard drives out to people being like, hey, here, plug this in as a USB external drive or something.
Well, no. It's not that. It's that I'm a mobile business professional on the go, and I carry my laptop with me. And if I lose my laptop, it's encrypted. And that's what it protects against.
Well, there's that. But actually, I had to do this for my work is where I'm developing a thing where they want, again, BitLock and everything. And I'm doing it for a flash drive.
Yep.
And I have to build my program for this. And we're wanting to hand these out to salesmen of like, hey, here's a drive. Just plug it in as an emergency. If our server ever goes down, plug this in. Here you go. You're good to go. You have, 2-week-old data. Right. But now they're stating that this is kind of interesting because if theoretically that solid state that I gave to a person, an employee, got into someone else's hands, they can get all this raw data, this hundreds of thousands of customer information acquisition that they could actually sell and make a profit on.
Yep.
Now, for my company, that's not a whole lot, but for other people, it's a big deal. It could be a big deal.
LOL, YouTube dropping frames exactly when Jeff is talking about dropping frames. And not caring. Sorry.
So it kind of is a big deal. So if you're constantly on the go, if you hand out hard drives to employees or flash drives to employees that are constantly encrypted, this might be a big issue for you. You might need to go get a software and hardware encryption.
Right.
You need to double encrypt.
Anyway, the update to this article was Microsoft actually has issued a security patch for this and recommends literally turning off and turning back on BitLocker. And they are redoing their RSA keys. So the problem with these drives was shared root password of the encryption algorithm for the hardware encryption of these drives. Basically, if you're talking about layman's terms on this, the root password for the encryption algorithm was admin.
Admin. User.
Wasn't quite that bad, but it was the same password on every single drive.
Yeah. And
so they were able to beat 256-bit RSA by typing in admin.
Pretty lame, but yeah. They found the magic key. The golden ticket.
Yes. They determined what the golden ticket was, and in fact, they don't even need the password if they have physical access to the drive because they can hook up a couple jumpers to a couple of pins, and it goes, "Oh, cool, you have access."
Yeah, exactly.
So
now you can copy everything you want over to the secondary drive, and that's what they were essentially doing.
Yep.
Was
precisely.
It didn't allow you to access it, but it said, "Hey, you can copy this over."
Right.
And they were able to copy it over and then access it.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of interesting.
Yep.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, and again, Skull pointed out, bourbon and rye are usually 5 to 7 years on the high end. And yeah, most bourbons that you buy in store are about 3-year aged. Some of the higher end...
About 5 years is the minimum.
Nope, usually
bourbon.
3.
Okay.
Yeah, usually 3. And most of, like 80% of the bourbons that you buy, bourbons and ryes, American whiskeys, are done by the same brewery or same distillery in Indiana. It's MSG.
You know, if you can find it actually Costco, if you have it. Where
the Kirkland whiskey.
The Kirkland whiskeys
pretty solid.
Are usually pretty solid.
Their whiskey, their vodka, and they've also got
10 or 12 years aged, I think.
A 10-year, I think.
I think it's 10.
Yeah.
So you're a little low on that, but it's all the same as the vodka is like Grey Goose, same as Grey Goose. I think their whiskey is, I want to say, we were just talking
Buffalo.
About Buffalo
Trace.
Trace.
Yep.
Buffalo Trace.
Yep.
I think that's what it is.
MGP, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
MSG is another thing that you don't want. Yeah, MGP, excuse me.
Well, MSG, if you really love Asian food, crappy Asian
That's
food.
where all the good flavor comes from.
It really is. If you don't like, you're like, I don't need salt, and why do I feel hungry again in 15 minutes? Oh. So, yeah.
No added MSG. No. Slather that stuff on.
No, I need all of that on there.
You got a turkey baster. Yeah. I want all your MSG. Yeah, MGP out of I believe it's Indiana distills like 80% of the American whiskey in the country.
Oh yeah.
So if you see such and such or distilled in such and such Indiana, it's an MGP whiskey. And a lot of them will take. You can order. Oh, I want this flavor, and this flavor. They'll sell you barrels of whatever whiskey has that flavor profile, and you can mix it together and make your own whiskey.
Yeah.
And that's how most distilleries start, is they start by selling MGP until they can produce their own whiskey that has that flavor profile.
Yeah.
So interesting little side tangent.
Side, unless you're getting little micro places, but yeah. Those are only 1 2 year moonshiners.
So anyway, I want to jump down into gaming news. We had a couple of things on the agenda tonight, but I think we covered all the things that I wanted to talk about.
It was a weird news week. It was very weak.
I posted Good Guy FCC. The FCC is pushing to enforce caller ID authentication, which means phone carriers would be required to authenticate where a call was coming from. So all those robocalls that you're getting that are local area codes that come from, hey, look, someone's calling from the same area code and prefix as my local cell phone. Wow, what are the odds? Hello? Thank you for choosing Costco. Fuck you.
Yeah. That'll go away.
Those are going to go away.
Yeah.
If the FCC gets their way.
Which I really hope. I thought that was great.
Right. Foxconn is having a hard time filling 13,000 chip manufacturer positions at their Wisconsin factory because amazingly enough, Wisconsin doesn't have 13 qualified chip manufacturer people on hand to just go, here, Foxconn, hire them.
They were saying that their unemployment rate is so low.
Oh, and Wisconsin has like a 4% unemployment rate anyway.
But we actually talked about them building this site.
Right.
I think one of the earlier episodes.
Yeah.
Like early episodes.
Yeah.
But honestly, I said, just give them free beer, just like SeaWorld.
That's right.
Boom. Employment shit.
Right. So, and then Samsung announced their foldable screen phone today, which looked weird.
I really wanted to kind of talk about this, but
I want to try one.
It was so thick. Did you see how thick it was in the guy's hand? Double that. That's when it's unfolded.
Right. It was about like this, but the thing is, it was the size of a chocolate bar.
No. This is how thick it was when it was unfolded. It was double this, and then he went, and that was just bad.
Yeah.
It looked.
I would say it looked nice, but I want to see one in person, not like shaky cell phone footage on stage with a black background.
Go look up Infinity Flex. Google it. Samsung Infinity Flex, and the only pictures that are there are this guy with his hand so far in the background, and it's a silhouette. Now the front screen looked like a 5-inch screen. It looked tiny,
but it looked skinny.
It looked
tall but skinny.
Yeah, exactly. There's these huge gaps, and then
when they unfolded it, it was kind of a square screen, but he was still holding it with one hand.
He was holding it with one hand.
And so that tells me it's not this size screen; it's something smaller.
It's smaller, but the thing is, though, did you see his?
That tells me maybe it's a 4.5 to 5-inch horizontal, but it's square.
Well, if you take a look at the ratio of his thumb to the body of the phone, it was at least twice.
It was like thumb thickness.
It was thumb thickness.
It was crazy
thick.
Crazy.
Now that's the thing. Like Jeff isn't. He has a non-standard phone. Look how thin I mean, mine is compared
Mine's not thick.
It's not thick, but okay.
Give me a break.
Feel mine.
Give me a break.
Feel mine.
Yours tapers.
Mine, but
look.
Okay.
No.
But this. Okay, yes, but you want to know? This is a 6.
Yeah.
We're on 10 now.
Right.
It's thinner than this.
Right. Yeah.
And both of them looked thicker than both of ours combined.
I like how John goes, mine's thinner. Yeah, at the thinnest point that tapers out, you freaking MacBook Air cheater.
Whatever. Exactly.
Thinnest computer ever made, out one infinitesimal point.
Anyways, the imaging on this. I mean, look. Okay, see right there. There you go. Look how thick that image is. Right here.
Yeah.
Look how thick that is.
That is thicker than my phone by itself.
Yeah.
By the way, you have to fold that and put it into your shirt pocket.
Yeah, so imagine double that.
Literally taking, 2 Heath bars and like gluing them together.
Yeah.
We're back to glue topography.
No, when they said first foldable phone, I thought it was like the wrist foldable.
Yeah, the LG.
The LG, like, oh, it's going to be on my...
Nope.
No, it's a tablet.
All right,
huge.
gaming
Anyways,
news.
Gaming news.
So, has anyone had a worse 2 weeks than Fallout 76 and Diablo? Has anyone in the history of gaming butchered their launches more than these two companies?
Okay, I will hand it to Diablo
for taking all the focus off Fallout 76.
Yeah. I mean that.
No one cares about Fallout 76 anymore.
I think Diablo did a way worse job than Fallout.
Yeah.
The mobile. I took a look at that game and I was just like, holy crap! This is just like a crappy mobile game that I see all the time on infomercials.
Yep.
What are that tribes are? What's
Clash of
Clash
whatever.
Of whatever. That's what it looked like to me.
Yep.
It looked so bad. I was like, oh
this
my
isn't
God.
even an in-house game. This is not a Blizzard-produced game. This is a Blizzard-published game. That's the difference.
Toward the end. Hang on. You can keep talking. You want a new glass? You're gonna finish?
Yeah,
this?
I want a new glass.
All right. We're gonna. I brought a beer for Jeff, and I want him to try it. So I'm actually not gonna get pint glasses because it's only a pint, so we're only gonna share. So this is actually kind of an interesting beer I had earlier today. It is a pineapple juice goes, which a goes beer is a sour, salty beer. It's usually brewed with salt water.
Oh, I can smell it.
So this was so amazing to me. Well, not amazing, actually interesting to me.
Yeah.
I had to share it. I just had to share it. It was so... It has warmed up a bit, so
It smells like I'm in Hawaii right now.
Give it a sec. I mean, understand the warmth. So try to give it the benefit of the doubt on that. But I don't know what tastes
right,
like.
No, I get the warmth. I'm used to tasting around temperature.
Yeah. So, but this is an interesting beer. But anyway, so Fallout.
So anyway, so Fallout 76 came out, and boy, I can smell this. I can smell the sour from here. That's the weird thing.
Just shut up and try it.
Okay.
Try it.
All right, we're gonna taste beer for a second.
Try it for a second. It's actually pretty interesting.
Wow.
It's still pretty good. I like it. I like this beer.
Oh, that is good.
It's just weird, but it described the... Jeff, you described this beer.
That is not like a dull pineapple juice. That is like a fresh squeezed pineapple that's been... Gosh, how do I describe that flavor? Because there's a little bit of saltiness to it, but that's not the secondary flavor.
No,
that's the tertiary flavor.
But you taste it.
There's a little bit of salt, but there's another flavor in there that I'm missing. And what is that?
Is it more pineapple rind?
It's almost... No, it's like a guava.
I get that. I get guava.
I'm tasting like a...
I could taste... I could see
like
that.
a fresh squeezed pineapple up front, and you got this
I could see guava. I could see that.
This sour, almost skunky flavor from a guava at the back of it, and there's a little bit of salt just kind of sprinkled in there.
That's weird, right?
It's weird.
It's weird.
But it's good.
It's good. So this is the Claim 52, which is an Oregon brewery. It's called Scar.
Yeah.
SKRRRRRR.
Scarvy.
This is whatever. But it's a 4.3% goes. It's a pineapple goes. It is just so weird. I had to have Jeff try it.
Yeah. That is good.
If you are not on Jeff's Patreon, you could have seen me talk about this earlier on Jeff's Patreon. It's only a minimum of $1 a month to join Jeff's Patreon. We talk a lot about computer stuff, talking heads, video game. We do a lot of weekly video game
I was giving
stuff.
network topology advice today.
And we have a whole holodeck area, or not holodeck, 10 forward. We talk a lot of booze and drinks. So if you are interested in whiskeys, bourbons, and everything, that's a great place. $1 a month, it's not too bad. You'll get access to
or more if you like.
You get access to some pretty cool stuff.
Yep.
All of the hosts of Talking Heads, Rhett will be back on really soon.
Yep.
Steve, myself, Jeff, we are all on there 24 hours a day. Pretty much
24 hours.
24 hours.
Like there's a 2 to 5 period that we're not on.
And there's a great community.
Literally just 2 to 5 a.m. That's it. And even sometimes I'm awake.
And there's a great community on there. So there's always someone to chat to. I highly recommend doing it. Fallout and Diablo.
Yep. So Fallout 76, they have this beta going on right now. But it's a very, very limited beta. And when I say limited, I mean they're limiting the hours of the day that you can play. And so it started, I think, last Tuesday or something like that.
It's like a week ago. Yeah.
It was about a week ago, where you could play the beta, but you could play from 7 to 11 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Period. So if you're on the West Coast, that's 4 to 7 p.m. And when they... And on the PC side of things, there was a bug in the beta that literally deleted your install. So you had to re-download the 46 gig install to play the beta, and you could only play for 3 hours. Now, I've got good internet. 50 gigs still takes me an hour to download.
It's a lot, yeah.
It was a lot.
And with Jeff's internet constantly going up and down, it could be more.
Right. So Bethesda botched the initial thing, and now they're doing like 1 and 2 hour periods that are like these random times during the day. Like today there was a 1 hour period. I could play from like 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play the beta. I have a key. I'm not going to play it. And every report that I've gotten from the game is it's just like Fallout 4, except there's nothing to do. The quests are very World of Warcraft. It's go to this place and talk to this guy and pick up this thing and then go to this other place and talk to this guy and give him that thing.
That's not how Fallout...
And then run to this place and beat up this guy.
No.
And that's the quest.
And that sounds like a crappy version of Grand Theft Auto.
And it's so crappy and so linear and so not immersive. And so it's like, yeah, you're using Fallout assets from the game, but who the crap cares?
Yeah.
The game is not interesting because of your gameplay. Your gameplay mechanics were actually kind of shit, and they have been for years. But we forgive you because the game is so entertaining in its storytelling and the environments. It's
the environment. Let's get it. The environment. The environment's awesome in Fallout.
Right. I mean, the storytelling's not bad either, but it's backseat to the environment. But when you take away the storytelling, all you're left with is some props.
Wow, I'm in a post-apocalyptic future, and you're telling me to go run over to this place. Can I do anything else? No, you have to run over there.
And there's no push to talk. There's no push to talk at all. You have to be on comms or off of comms, which means I'm going to turn them off because I have 2 kids and a wife, and they have to talk to me while I'm playing games. And so I'm just going to turn off my microphone. And Bethesda's response is, well, we want the world to feel alive, and so we want every player to play on there. It's
we want everyone to hear the background noises. Okay. Like, no, you know how many people talk crap on background noises?
I don't want to hear everyone talking, because have you heard people talk? People are stupid.
Well, that too, yeah. I mean, how many weird, crappy YouTube videos have you heard, or not even YouTube, but of Twitch, background noises of people arguing and other things, and just weird crap.
I hope they're just arguing.
Yeah, in the background of like, I'm trying to play a game here.
Ooh, there's the salt.
It's a weird beer, but that's not immersive.
We must be getting into Diablo. We're getting closer. I'm tasting the salt.
And then there is Diablo.
And then Diablo took all the focus off Fallout 76.
They're like, well, Fallout was like, hey, well, at least you're in the game, at least, right? Then Fallout's like, hey, guess what? You're not even in our world. Screw Diablo.
So, Blizzard, in their infinite wisdom, chose BlizzCon as the premier event to not announce Diablo 4. To their credit, they did announce basically a remaster of Warcraft 3, which I'm looking forward to playing. They did announce some new Overwatch players, which I'm looking forward to playing.
How many are there already?
A couple of dozen.
I think 32 is now.
Yeah, something like that.
Overwatch is becoming the Smash Brothers of first-person shooters.
But it's fine. I'm okay with that. But it's like, okay, so we've got this. Oh, yeah, I remember Warcraft 3. Oh, yeah, I play Overwatch. Okay, so Diablo. The thing you've been waiting for forever. We're releasing it for your phones.
Oh, my God. Your 7-inch screen.
So the people who literally paid hundreds of dollars, both in admittance and travel, and took time off work and everything else to see what Blizzard was coming out with, you announced a fucking third-party mobile game. That's what you announced. At your annual convention, that was your platform to launch a microtransaction-laden mobile game.
Yeah.
And you wonder why people are pissed. You don't know. You don't understand. You thought that was an adequate platform. You thought that was the right audience to launch for. Literally the PC Master Race community. The community that goes PC above all else. That's who plays Diablo, is PC above all else. That's who you chose to launch a mobile game to.
Well, we're trying to hit a different audience, Jeff, and we're trying to hit that audience that we think that's going to evaluate us into the distant future, Jeff.
Right. No, you're freaking cash hungry, and you want the mobile transactions and the microtransactions and the Chinese marketplace and the whatever else, the people who only game on smartphones. BlizzCon was not the place to announce that. How'd you announce this?
Wasn't that one of their headliners?
All you had to do, that was the headliner.
Yeah.
All you had to do, Blizzard, I'm talking to you one-on-one. All you had to do was say, today we are announcing Diablo Immortal. It is a mobile game. It has these features. It takes place in the Diablo universe in whatever timeline. I don't give a shit. It takes place here. You can do this. You can play with these people. You can do these things. You then take 16 seconds and you have Diablo 4 coming soon.
That's it.
And you fade out and everyone loses their minds.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do. That's it. That is it. You couldn't even do that. We know Diablo 4 is coming. You've said before BlizzCon, sorry, wrong person I'm mad at right now. You said before BlizzCon that we have multiple Diablo titles in production, and the main PC Diablo will not be part of our main announcement. And you take it to announce a mobile platform or a mobile game. And you make no mention of the thing that people paid hundreds of dollars to get into your show to see.
Yeah, no one wants to go and pay hundreds of dollars to see a mobile game, a Clash of Clans. I'm gonna go kill some wizards. Okay, so I did read some reviews on this game. I did read some reviews. I saw some. It wasn't gameplay, but it was play. It looks campy. Right. It looks too polished to me. It kind of looks like Diablo. I was a big Diablo 1, Diablo 2. I played those.
Oh yeah.
I love Diablo 1.
I baited Diablo 2.
Yeah, those two fantastic. I never got around to 3.
I can say I never got around to 3.
Yeah, no. One and 2.
It didn't draw me in.
One.
Something about it didn't draw me in.
Yeah. So this and a lot of reviews I heard was like, the only good thing they were complimenting was like the controls on the mobile phones. Of like, yeah, it's actually kind of accurate, but I don't feel like I'm playing Diablo. If they just rebranded this as some other thing, they're like, oh, this is like some other quest. Right. Just put something quest, And this game would sell just fine.
Yep.
But don't say Diablo in front of it.
Or even if it is Diablo, give us an announcement that you're making Diablo 4 and this fan base loses its fucking mind. And seriously, it is not that complicated.
Honestly, you know what would have been really cool is if you had to download this and then by getting certain points or certain stages, you got trailers for 4.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. Mm-hmm. Blizzard, that's what you should have done.
You got inside information to the development of Diablo 4.
By getting so far in this mobile game,
I don't care if Diablo 4 comes out Q1 of 2020. I don't care if we're 18 months out from the release of it. You at least give me a 15-second Diablo 4.
Yeah, something.
And you fade out and the crowd goes nuts. You don't have to say anything else. You don't have to give any information.
Just put a logo out there, bullcrap, some fire.
Now I want to talk to the people who attended BlizzCon and a fan of Diablo. You guys are assholes.
I don't know about that.
I'm going to say, talking to the developers at the level that they did, I thought was a dick move. I'm going to call out the community here. I know you're disappointed. I know you expected more. I know you expected better of Blizzard. Tell Blizzard that. Don't tell the developers who are standing on the stage that you're embarrassed for them. Don't say, is this some kind of April Fool's joke? You're a dick. That was my initial response watching that announcement and watching that Q&A is, wow. The developers, they may like Diablo. They're excited about Diablo. They've been told by Blizzard what they get to make.
Yeah.
And basically crucifying them over that decision was a dick move by the community.
Yeah, no, you really can't do that type of stuff. Right. It is higher up and the developers...
And again, you disagreed with me on my initial sentence, and then after I said, you're talking to the developers on the stage. Yeah. You went, wow, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I get what you're...
The thought process didn't go through those people's heads that the people on the stage were the people who worked on that game and are paid to work on that game, and that's just their job.
Yeah.
And if you're a dick, you're a dick.
Yeah, that gets to the point of the fanboy basis of I'm overreacting and everything like that. And that I agree with that.
Right.
Okay. I will state that we're getting a little over time. Do you want to do some Q&A 10 minutes?
Maybe 10 minutes. We'll try to keep it to 10 minutes.
Try to keep it to 10 minutes.
The floor is open.
So, yes. Go ahead and hit us some quick questions. I think I even saw a couple on here.
Hey, just woke up, watching the show. Great show. What do you guys is that whiskey you're drinking now? No, this is
a
pineapple goes.
Yeah, so it's a pineapple salted beer.
Yep.
Very pineapple juicy.
Very, very juicy. Very citrusy. Very citrusy.
I thought you all, earlier you even said that I bring crap beer. I do bring a gem.
You bring gems from time to time.
This is weird. I'm not saying this.
You bring the best and the worst beer, and that pisses me off.
Okay. That's what I love. That
pisses me off.
That brings me joy. But yeah. So if anyone has any questions,
the floor is open. Is there anything you guys want to know? Is there any questions you guys have?
Do I have an S80? No, I have an S60.
Yeah.
I have two S60s. I have a 2017 and I have a 2008.
You also have an XC...
I have an XC90.
XC90.
Yes.
Yep.
All I drive are Volvos.
Yeah, he has 3 Volvos. I have 2 nice Nissans and a Mazda.
And you are thinking about upgrading to a another Nissan.
Yeah, we're looking at trading in the Mazda for another Nissan. He's
going to be an all.
So I'm going to be a Nissan fanboy. He's a Volvo fanboy.
Yeah. And yes, we both work tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah. Some stupid crap IT stuff that happened this week.
Yep. We'll talk off camera about my week.
Oh yeah. But last week, if anyone was interested, we had a rant for about 15 minutes of Star Trek. If anyone didn't know, we had a 2-hour rant after cameras went off.
Yes.
We were.
John was here until 12:15.
Yeah, Jeff's producer.
My wife came in and interrupted us and said you need to come to bed.
Yeah, we were going back and forth.
What Mazda? Is that an AutoZone? No, my wife's car is a Mazda CX-9. It's a 2008 CX-9 Grand Touring.
Yeah.
And I love the car. It's a great car. We got the all-wheel drive. The thing I don't like about it is it's got the 22-inch low-profile rims, so tires are freaking expensive.
Oh yeah, and they don't do crap during winter.
We put the thinnest possible tires on an all-wheel drive car, and it's freaking useless.
Yeah.
I would much rather have lower-end rims, have some 17-inch rims with some good meaty tires on it, so I could actually use the freaking all-wheel drive on it.
Yeah. Someone asked if we drift do you guys drift? No. Well, professionally, no. Accidentally, yes.
A couple times.
For fun, yeah.
I will say, so my two Nissans, I have a 2013 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X 6-speed.
Yeah.
And it's a fun truck. I love taking it up on trails, going up and driving up in the mountains. It's a good time. My daily is a 2004 Nissan 350Z.
Yeah.
And it's also a 6-speed. And I love that car. But it has the 19-inch Nismo wheels on it. So super low profile tires. And that thing cannot drive in the water for anything. And by the way, in 2004, traction control wasn't required. So my 350Z doesn't have traction control. And it's really fun because if there's any moisture on the road, I can just kick that back end out. You can be in any gear and you just give it a little bit more gas and you go, you'll kick it sideways. And and most of my drive to work is backcountry roads.
Yeah.
And so there's some times I do a little bit of drifting around corners recreationally, as it were.
It is fun to get, if you can get a little squeak out of a turn and no one's around, it's always a good day.
A good drive, I will say the on-ramp to I-5 is my favorite place to do it.
Really?
Because I'm at that intersection, and that's a huge, wide intersection, and there's usually no one around. And so I've got 50 yards to just go...
Yeah.
Okay, gun it.
Well, when I get home, no, it's not. It's always...
When I get home, it's busy, but on the way to work, there's no one there. So it's pretty awesome. Let's see. Like watching Brothers when you guys get together. We've known each other a while.
We've known each other for a while.
Yeah.
My brother is actually on this show, but I never co-host with him.
Yep. But for a couple times. Then you show up late and then you leave early.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to see my brother and me, check out Hops and Brews.
That's right. At Hops and Brews, move a little bit to your side so we can see the BenQ ultra wide.
No.
Whoa. Skull. How did you know I'm running it in shitty 720p? That's what I want to know right now. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, how can you tell from his YouTube stream? Because he's already running his YouTube stream.
Because I told no one about this. So scoot to the side.
I'll do it.
So I've got a brand new 35-inch BenQ monitor awaiting review.
Super jealous about how he told me he got this.
Yeah. So anyway, BenQ reached out and asked if I'd like to review this monitor. I said, absolutely, I would love to review this monitor. And so they sent it over. And so right now, it is actually running the Valley benchmark. In the benchmark, it's running the benchmark right now. But I am running it at 720p. And I do have VSync turned on. So it's not stressing my graphics card too hard. It's just something pretty to look at because I don't have a pre-rendered or pre-recorded recording in ultra-wide. And I wanted it to be full widescreen so you guys can kind of get a teaser to a video that's coming up. But Skull, how the hell did you know I'm running it in 720p, you little rat bastard? That's what I want to know.
That's a great monitor, though. No, I don't. I actually personally hate Jeff.
So anyway, it is running at 1720 by 720 at 100 hertz. By the way, it's running at 100 hertz.
That's 100 hertz?
It's 100 hertz.
You got that for free?
Yeah. Well, I got it for a review sample. It is not free because I need to put like 40 hours into this review. Probably 20 hours plus.
You're going to give it to me, right?
Not a chance in hell.
Come on. This is the great monitor for my arcade.
I also have a Pixio 27-inch on the way.
How about
144
Everyone wants to see a video of Jeff upgrade my arcade machine to be a fully functional multimedia.
You need to start bringing some better beer is what needs to happen. You brought a good pint. That doesn't excuse the Budweiser Freedom Lager. That doesn't excuse the Copper Reserve.
If you're on Jeff's Discord...
That doesn't excuse that piece of shit Jim Beam you bought a couple of weeks ago.
If you are on Jeff's Discord, you will know and see all the beers that I have. if I do recall, it was like 160 beers that I have at my house. 90 of them are reserved age. So you might
Okay, sorry. Someone has a really good question.
Okay.
Do I actually need to use the heater that's under the desk? And he's referring to that right there.
Oh.
John, can you tell me what's in that box right now?
What is that? I can't even tell. What is that? Is that the false? Wait, is that your...
So, for those who can't tell, there's bare wires in that box right now. There is no heater. There was a Cadet heater in there. I pulled that out because the Cadet had tripped its fuse 3 times, which means it will no longer start. So there is nothing in that box right now. It's just a grate with an open hole.
Well, there's something in there.
Yep.
There's like a white thing in the background. I can't tell what it is, but whatever.
And I am very glad that people are very interested in the monitor reviews. Like literally 3 comments in a row. I got the PX276. It's actually the PX277, I believe. Let me double check on that real quick. I believe it's the PX277.
Which is
the TN version of their 144 hertz 1440p 27-inch monitor. Let's see.
But you told me you got that at Goodwill.
No. I got the 27-inch at Goodwill. The 27-inch 1080... Or no, it wasn't even Goodwill. It was Craigslist.
Oh.
I got a 27-inch Samsung curved 1080p panel for $40 on Craigslist.
Oh, you're going to give that one to me, right?
No. And actually, the Pixio, after I'm done reviewing it, this one's going to go downstairs to my wife, and the Pixio is going to go here.
Damn it.
So then I will have a ultra-wide 1440. I will have a 1440 144 hertz. I will have a 1080 60 hertz, and I will have a 4K 60 hertz. And that will be my different testing setups. Let's see.
You really need your secondary camera, or you need a third camera over here so we can get some angles.
I do need to set up a secondary camera. I've been so disappointed with the with the C920. I want to get a secondary camera body set up here, but that means I need a second capture card, which I have room for, kind of. But I also need to get a better camera body. On my list for the next probably 6 to 7 months is I want to buy the next Sony camera body, whether it's an A6500, but I hope they come out with whatever their next APS-C sized 4K camera is. I want to buy that camera body. So that will be my new primary camera, and then my A6000 will move to a secondary position. Whether or not I use it on the stream, I don't know, but I want a second camera. And I want to upgrade my A camera to 4K.
The A camera would be nice, but the secondary camera would be nice to get those angle shots and the zoom in shots of drinks and beverages.
Yep.
I think we tried doing that.
Because doing this, unfortunately, it's blurry.
It was out of focus, and we tried doing that downstairs in the other studio with the HP webcam, and it still just wasn't as clear as a lot of times we needed it.
Is that a candle on the computer behind me? I'm assuming you mean right here.
No. If you don't know what that is, it is a squeaky toy.
It's not a squeaky toy. It's a tribble.
It should be a squeaky toy.
It's a tribble.
It should be a squeaky toy.
It's not squeaky.
Then it's not a tribble.
It's a tribble.
It should purr. And
Yeah. This is my tribble.
That's Jeff's tribble. It's the smaller of the tribbles.
Yeah.
It breeds every 12 hours times 10.
Yep. Klingons hate it.
It's a mortal enemy of the Klingon race.
That's right. So yeah, that's my tribble.
Songs of sound.
Is the tribble dead? No, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. Let's see. Anything you wanted to talk about, John?
No.
Anything you need to plug? Anything?
No, nothing. No, just hops and brews. If you're ever interested in more of the in-depth beer stuff, talk about, check out my channel, Tops and Brews. Basically, I try to review more beer stuff. I'm trying to have Jeff on. We have planned a few interesting cocktails. Jeff is busy. I'm busy with personal things, and Jeff has his craft computing, so it's very hard to shoot it. But they're very fun ideas, and we're looking forward to trying to do it. We've been talking about it for a long time. We have everything set up for it. We're just trying to find the
We have one video we're going to film here.
It's very
because we need a liquor cabinet.
We need a liquor cabinet, and it's better for the higher resolution camera.
Yes.
My camera, 1080p, 24 frames per second. It's good for just basic
Did you get
movies.
a new lens, or is that just your new lights?
No, that's just new lights.
Awesome.
Right? How good do those two videos look?
Yeah.
With just new lights?
Yeah, your latest 2 videos, I wanted to comment. Did you get that Tamron 1750 that I've been telling you to buy for like a year?
Just all lights. It was all lights.
Lighting is everything in a video, man.
It really was.
That was actually why my videos up here look so much crisper than they do downstairs. It's the same exact equipment. It's just I have much more control over the lighting in this room.
Actually, it's funny. The last 3 videos I wanted to compliment. While I'm in here, it actually feels dimmer.
Yeah.
But on
camera, it's amazingly good.
It's amazingly crisp up front.
Yeah.
Dim in the back, but yet items seem still very easily visible.
What I have set up is 2 different sets of track lights. I've got a 4-bank up here and a 4-bank back here.
Yeah.
The back bank is a set of RGB LEDs, so I can color the back wall. And so I can make those any color that I want, but those are much, much dimmer lights.
Yeah.
The consequence of that is there's a lot less light being thrown over in the workspace. But on camera, because I'm so well lit and the background kind of fades away, it means I am that much crisper in the video.
Oh yeah, no. Early, the first couple of videos you did up here, in the new studio, they weren't the greatest lighting. You were every video was a different lighting.
My first video was not good, and that was I think the second video that I posted here was the Crazy Gear video, and that's actually the first video that I filmed in here. That was the giant bag review for the Kickstarter. The first video that went live was amazingly good. And it just showed how much more control over the lights that I have. Yeah. And that was literally the second video that I shot. And that was just playing with bouncing lights at different angles and playing with different background lighting and backlighting and different stuff.
No, I thought the last Talking Heads, this one, and even the one with Steve, I think it was the one with Steve, the last one with Steve, was the one I noticed lighting looked really good.
Yeah.
Front here looked crisp. Back looked good,
but
still I could see everything.
I've got it pretty much down to a science now for how I set up my lighting and where I'm bouncing things.
Yeah.
I am working on getting some different angles set up. This desk is meant to be modular. I can actually take this desk and move it over here, and we can film this way if we wanted to.
That would be interesting.
But
then we don't get to see the liquor cabinet.
Right, but you get to see my 43-inch monitor.
It usually has some pretty good stuff. Regan, though, did have a $2
He does.
question.
When is the drunk PC build-off coming?
Which we talked about on Jeff's Discord.
Yeah.
His Patreon. That's going to be hard. If you were on the Discord and the Patreon, we talked about it's very hard in our area to find good, cheap PC parts.
Right.
We have to travel at least an hour and a half to find decent parts.
So an idea has been posed by my Patreon to do kind of a Tech Yes style video. Do a budget... play the game, get a baller deal kind of thing.
Yeah. Who can build the best for the cheapest?
Who can build, scrapyard wars kind of thing. Here's $300, go build a PC. Our local market sucks.
It really does.
To get any kind of components, I need to go to Portland, which is about an hour away.
Or Eugene, an hour and 20 minutes.
Or Eugene, an hour and 20 minutes. And we're kind of smack dab in the middle of 2 pretty decent markets, but even Eugene kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But our local market here in Salem is terrible.
No, they're asking cost almost all the time.
They're asking cost, and they're asking cost for 4-year-old parts.
Yeah, it's really bad.
When I can get a better deal delivered to my door on Amazon Prime, you're asking the wrong prices.
Yeah, it's bad. Now, there was the discussion of, okay, all the cheap used places around us is Goodwill, and they're 10-year-old, they're Celeron Duo 2.
I will say I get decent monitors at Goodwill.
But nothing else.
But that's it.
Yeah, we're processors, graphics cards, they're Celeron Duo 2s, they're 84, AMD 84s, or 8400, sorry.
No, they're not even that. I see, at the most, not even FX processors. I see Phenom processors.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of...
Have you seen FX?
I've seen Again, it's rare, but every now and then. But I'm talking like 3-4 months apart.
Right.
You know,
like a tower in the store.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, there's a bulk to three of them to select from. It's a single one, and like you have to grab it.
Yeah.
So
Interested in some sleeper refurbished PCs? I did one kind of early on in the channel. It was, maybe in late November last year, maybe about a year ago, where I did a sleeper PC in a refurbished HP 8300. So it was an i5, like an 8470 with a GT 1030 in it. You can get some decent deals on some refurbished Lenovo's and HP's and Dell's and things like that, and you can add some decent graphics cards to them. But it's been done before, and the problem is there's no new budget graphics cards, and so any video that I'd want to do has already been done. So I kind of need to wait until some new graphics cards come out so I can kind of give a different take on it.
What do you think? And viewers too, what do you think of... We took apart, and we'll just go with a basic PC. No water cooling, air cooled.
Okay.
Fan cooled. Of a hangover the next day. How good do you think you can control that? Or your family would be fine with that?
Of doing what?
You having a hangover the next day.
Oh, I got to drink a lot to get a hangover.
Okay. So, I have a select, supply of beer.
Yes.
Specifically, one beer I have in mind is the 120. I have quite a bit of it. Now, I think we could do it here. And Steve and I will even join you.
I've got an inflatable mattress.
In the background. Steve and I can even be in the background encouraging you. But we get you to pound the 48 ounces of 120, which is almost a 19% beer. Pound that down. We wait an hour. And then we have Jeff build a PC from scratch.
Done.
And then we time that and we just film that. And obviously the shenanigans of Steve and I in the background and you. I think that's a video. Not for Hops and Brews, but I think for craft computing.
I think what you do is we take parts off my shelf and we just build a PC.
Yes, but I know. We take you.
Yeah.
Steve and I just laugh in the background.
And you just get me hammered.
And we get you hammered.
Sure.
I will supply the beer. But we have to get you hammered as fast as possible. Because one beer and like here's a crowler. Drink it yourself. You have 30 minutes to drink this crowler, Jeff.
Sure.
I like that. That's a good idea. I don't think it's going to get a whole lot of hits.
I have totally hesitated at doing the drinking to excess online because I don't like to flirt with that line. But I think if we can show it in a controlled environment where there's other responsible adults present who are acting as my conscience.
Oh, no, that's not good. No, that's your wife. Okay, we can have your wife in the room, but that won't be me. You know that.
Now, the reason I say I hesitate is Bitwit has already done a drunk PC build. In fact, he's done two. He's done a drunk PC build, and he's also taught his wife how to build a PC while he is drunk. And those are two of the best videos ever. And you know what? Screw it. Let's do it.
Right? Let's do it. Because... I'll tell the one element they're missing.
Tell you what, maybe I've got the next like 5 weeks or so planned. Maybe like mid-December. Let's do it.
Okay, mid-December. We can do like a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Christmas special.
Jeff Hammered building a random PC.
Building a random PC.
I'll even frickin' water cool that bitch.
There we go. How about that? Jeff pukes into the water cooler with his own vomit.
Yeah. I've even got a breathalyzer. We'll prove that I'm like a 0.18 and building the PC.
Could you water cool something with vomit? Vomit-filled alcohol.
I don't vomit. I usually tend to have to pop the cork.
Okay. Well, could you do it? Yeah, but could you though? If someone else did it, vomited, could you cool down?
No, it's too thick. It's too viscous.
No. You can get a watered down vomit because it has. But now you have acid corrosion and alcohol.
I'd have to distill it down into a more of a concentrate.
These are questions we need to find out in craft computing. We had a $5 earlier on. It's passed.
Did I miss it?
Yeah, we missed it.
Shame on you.
I think it was just a hurrah. Let's do that. There it is.
Still waiting for the rehash of the average Steam PC.
That was a good video.
It has been on my list for a long time, and other projects have kind of gotten in the way. I did the calculations, and the problem is the calculations that I came up with this year are right in between two different parts. And I don't know what to do about that. Where like there's this gap in PC performance, and my metrics landed directly in between where the parts are available at. So the CPU I can fudge because CPU matters a lot less in gaming than the GPU does. But the GPU landed at like a 6,000 PC mark score, and the GPUs are available in 5,000 and 7,000 variants. And so I wasn't sure where to go, and the GPUs that I wanted weren't available. So yeah, I want to do one. I will probably do one maybe come the turn of the new year. Maybe right after CES, I'll do an Average Gamer's PC redo. It is on my list. It is something I am actively investigating, but I kind of wanted to let the new graphics card settle as well. Kind of find where the market was going to land at and go from there.
Yeah, you did some server stuff. You just did a server tower build.
Yep.
I think
I've got probably 2 more parts coming in that video.
Lee 6 is talking...
Any more server tutorials.
Yeah, he wants server tutorials. Now, I don't know if he's talking about server tutorials in the NAS device.
Probably FreeNAS-like tutorials or just server home use in general.
Now,
I do have a couple in mind. I have one that...
You have one that's like, hey, how do you restore... If not tonight, take that back.
Well, number one, make sure you take good backups. And I have good backups, so I was able to restore from backup. Literally, as I was trying to build my new FreeNAS server, my existing FreeNAS server hard drives gave up the ghost, and they stopped responding. What a day. Anyway, tutorials that are coming up on the channel. I have a VPN gateway for your network, so you can channel any device you want through your VPN without having to configure like your cell phone through a VPN. So you just change your gateway on your network address and off you go. And you're fully protected. I have a potential backup of your NAS to Google Drive.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So siphoning your data to Google Drive on unlimited storage.
What do you need for that?
Well, I have you can kind of skirt the requirements for Google Drive if you have an enterprise account. And we have an enterprise account here for Craft Computing. And if you have 5 users on the enterprise account, you can pay for unlimited storage for $10 per user. And so for $50 a month, I can get unlimited storage on Google.
Ooh, that's not too bad then.
So it's $50 a month, but for me, it might make sense. For the average home user, I don't know, but it all depends on how much data you have and how much you want to keep.
Using? I mean, what's your server like? What are you doing?
Right. Trying to think of, I had another tutorial, and I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but I had like 3 in the pipeline. So potentially soon-ish.
Soonish. 10:27. You want to call it?
I'm going to call it.
We're going to call it.
Yep.
So, thanks guys for joining us. This is episode Talking Heads of 57.
57. Moving right along.
I think that's we're going to call that a wrap.
I think we're going to call that a wrap because I'm not going to test YouTube anymore.
Well, I think we pushed YouTube to its fullest.
Yeah, at least my ISP to the
your
fullest.
your internet and with that 1 megabit upload.
OpenVPN on Raspberry Pi, you say? You say you want a tutorial for OpenVPN on Raspberry Pi? I might be able to do that. Just saying. That's another one on my mind. Anyway, episode 57, Talking Heads in the books. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.